Knuckleball free kicks. They used to be all the rage, but when was the last time you saw someone score with one? We're going to take a look at why we're not really seeing them anymore and also explain a bit more about how they work. The knuckleball peaked in the 2010s, probably because that Ronaldo strike in 2008 inspired academy players everywhere. Here's a young Mason Mount.
I tried to base my free kick on Ronaldo, hit the ball by the valve and it moves. So what do you do? Top corner, top bins.
The name knuckleball comes from a baseball pitch held with the knuckles rather than the fingertips, which doesn't spin as it travels. Now, no ball is a perfect sphere, so as it travels, it creates ever-changing pockets of turbulent air, causing that unpredictable movement. Brazilian free-kick specialist Juninho Pernambucano wasn't the first player to do it, but he did perfect it, scoring 77 free kicks over his career, more than anyone else. He was inspired by 90s midfielder Marcelinho Carioca and a guy called Didi, who was hitting knuckleballs in the 50s and 60s. Brazilians call it the dry leaf, because the ball looks like a leaf that gets blown around in the wind this way and that. So how do you do it? The key point is to hit the ball head-on, usually with a straighter run-up. It's a punch-like shot and, crucially, as short a contact time as possible so the ball doesn't spin. Some people think players hit the valve to affect the air inside the ball. That's not the reason. It's because the part of the ball around the valve is more rigid, helping to shorten that contact time. Remember the David Luiz beauty against Colombia in the 2014 World Cup? We don't really see knuckleballs anymore. Why? Because players are being told not to shoot from dead ball situations because the XG is so low. In fact, as Opta shows here, since the 08-09 season, there's been a 10% reduction in players shooting from free kicks in the Premier League. In 23-24, a record low of 11 free kicks found the back of the net. And the knuckleball, by its very nature, is imprecise, which is why it's becoming a thing of the past.
Very good morning to you. It's 4 minutes past 6 o'clock, Monday, August the 10th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend, and Arnold Clark's Deal Drop. Get the new car feeling without the new car price. Discover some of their big savings and find your next car today. Andy, good morning to you, mate.
Good morning, Jeff. How are we doing? Yes, beautiful day again out there in London town. I'm sure it is all over the country. Yeah. Looking forward to another fantastic week of weather. Getting very hot again, isn't it, this week?
It is. I tell you, I saw last night, it was a great moment last night, talking of the weather, on the BBC 10 o'clock news, OK? So they had an aerial shot, a drone shot or whatever, of a whole host of gardens,
right,
which were absolutely parched, totally brown, every single one of them. And then as the drone panned along, the last one was totally lush green, not a brown mark, and they immediately pulled away from that.
So the hosepipe band didn't count on the end, yeah.
The hosepipe band only stretched to the last but one house on that thing. It was just amazing.
No, looking forward to this. I'll tell you what, it's starting to get used to waking up every day and a beautiful blue sky. I mean, what with the weather that I had out in Dallas and Atlanta in the summer, and then still here, it's been a pretty amazing summer. I was looking actually the other day, summer of '76. You and I can both remember that one, Jeff. Yeah. The drought lasted into October. You know, the real lack of water, and that's going to be obviously the next problem, I would have thought, no doubt. And there's a lot of those pocket little. We had one in the Cotswolds the other day. One of those fires that started, you know, and took out a few hundred acres of fields. So you got to be a little bit careful this weather, but it is lovely.
You've got to be really careful. I mean, my golf club's banned any smoking for the last 2 or 3 weeks now. You know, so
yes,
you just can't take a risk.
You can't
under any circumstances.
You can't at all.
So, I saw something at the weekend, Andy. We'll touch on it a bit later on. I've been going to football for 60 odd years, longer than I can care to remember, really. And I saw something on Saturday that I've never, ever seen before.
Go on.
Never, ever seen before. So I'm at Hartlepool against Barrow. First game of the season in the National League. It's approaching half-time. Fourth official puts his board up 2 added minutes.
Right.
Within 15 seconds, the referee has blown for half-time. Everyone heads for the bars, whatever. We turn round, and the teams have left the field. We turn round. They're coming back out.
Oh, no, the ref's realised he's
realised he's made a mistake. So we had to come back out and play the additional 1 minute 45 seconds of that half. At which point we almost conceded in that 1 minute 45 seconds. It would have been hell to pay as well.
Right, yeah.
By the way, but I've never seen it happen before.
No, I don't think I've ever witnessed that either.
And the consensus was, why not just add it on at the end of the match? But there's probably a regulation that says you can't. I don't know.
No, weird. No, that's a weird one. And usually, in that respect, the referees are pretty hot and pretty good in that sort of requirement. But clearly, Jeff, he's got his watch horribly wrong.
The poor lad was a bit flustered.
I bet he was.
He's a bit flustered in the second half. Yeah. He went to book a player. And instead of pulling out his yellow card, he pulled out his notebook. Well, it was either his notebook or his shopping list, one of the two. You know, not the yellow card. I won't name him. I don't want to embarrass him. You know, it's a tough job, but he didn't have his finest 90 minutes.
Good attendance or not?
Yeah, it was almost full, you know, so nearly 6,000 there.
Oh, great. That's good.
400 odd from Barrow. So,
and are they looking?
Looking good. Well, we've got Lee Clark on a bit later on, looking good. It was the most physical contest I think we'll have all season.
Wow.
I mean, the Barrow boys, they've been in grow bags all summer, quite clearly. They are. We're pretty big, but they are monsters. Enormous.
Yeah.
And physical. You know.
Direct?
Yeah, reasonably direct. You know, you would be with
boys like that
sort of size there. But look, it was a great start for us. So,
good,
and they won't be far off it either. But we'll touch on the National League a bit more later on. But of course, Carabao Cup was underway this weekend. First round played over a weekend. Here's how it sounded live on talkSPORT.
Yeah, it's Derby 1, Lincoln 2. So Derby have got themselves a foothold in this game. It's been scored by Sammy Smodic.
Swansea 0, Birmingham City 1. It was a low cross into the box by Carlos Vicente, finding August Prisk. He backheeled the ball into the opposite corner of the keeper's net.
Right edge of the penalty area, early cross, and the header is put away by Tati Castellanos.
Cardiff 3, Swindon 2, Cardiff back in front, and it is the big new signing, Jack Moylan.
It's Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bolton Wanderers 0. Bolton down to 10 men and have been punished by Jamal Lowe's goal.
And it's Bergsorg who's also scored Preston's decisive goal in the penalty shootout.
8 minutes to go. It's Stoke 2, Oldham 0. 2 substitutes combining. Robert Bosenic played through by Bae Jun-ho.
Right-footed. Belshaw went the right way but couldn't quite get there. And Walker celebrates in front of the Burnley fans over in that left corner.
That's how it sounded. An interesting experiment to play the Carabao Cup over the first weekend. I mean, the attendances by and large...
They look good?
Average, pretty average, but they would have been poorer if it had been a meaningless game. But what about West Ham?
Yes.
New attendance record for the first round, and it wasn't just by a bit, was it? 53,369. Smashed the previous best by 18,000.
Brilliant.
And by the way, 9,000 Portsmouth fans. That
helps as well. Going one down, Jeff, West Ham.
Yeah.
Going one down and then spinning that back round. And Castellanos, couple of goals. And
I don't want to hold on to him, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
again, what I liked about him was, West Ham have had, in recent seasons, they've had, when I say recent seasons, probably over the last 10, they've had strikers coming in at that club who have never really got it. What I do like about him, he is always on the move. He is always offering himself, whether it be spinning and running hard direct towards the goal, or whether he's running into the gullies, into the channels, drifting wider. He will always offer someone in possession of the ball a bit of an outlet, and players like that. And fans recognise that. Someone who's literally really, when he's running, he's sprinting, not just sort of half going into the channels and half making a run in behind and stopping. That guy seems to really want to work hard, and good to see he's up and running with a couple of goals.
Yeah, brilliant. Lincoln won at Derby, first time they've ever done that. And it was indicative of how misleading stats can be sometimes. I mean, Lincoln had 28.9% possession.
Right.
Yet Derby had 8 attempts on goal and Lincoln had 14. 14 with their 28% possession.
Yeah.
And by the way, QPR Millwall went to a penalty shootout. You see the score?
No.
Finished 2-0 to Millwall in the penalty shootout.
Wow.
QPR missed all 4 penalties that they took. So there we go.
Not good.
Scottish Premiership. It's just the start that Rangers fans feared, isn't it?
It certainly is. Again, I didn't see the game obviously, but saw the highlights, saw the goals. The winning goal, Jeff. The winning goal. I'm thinking to myself, surely my goalie's got to get something on that. It wasn't a blistering strike, was it? That flew into the top corner.
It wasn't.
I mean, listen, accurate goal and great for Hibs, great finish from them, but literally in stoppage time to see one like that crawl into the far corner must have been agony for all the Rangers fans who saw it, who watched it live, and certainly for Derek McInnes, I would have thought that, his shoulders would have slumped a bit when that one went in, but it was a poor looking goal, wasn't it, to concede right in the last few moments.
Well, already 5 points behind Celtic, who won by 5-1 at Kilmarnock. And of course, they're behind in their European tie as well, going to the second leg this week. After the game, Derek McInnes admitted his side has had a tough start to the season.
I know the club are working hard to get the right kind of reinforcements in that will help us in the campaign. So it's been a rotten start for us. We can't pretend that. I share the frustration of the fans because they've had 15 years of frustration here, and it builds up quite quickly. But it's not been the start we wanted, but we're still determined to give them the outcome in the end that they want, and we're determined to get it right for them.
Yeah, it's an understatement, isn't it, when he says the frustration builds up quite quickly. I mean, I've been listening to people on phone-ins already, sort of demanding that his head rolls.
Stuff like that is nonsense. No, of course it is. Look, again, a long season ahead. Not great to be that behind Celtic already, 5 points behind them already. Of course not, but a very, very long way to go. And I'm sure Derek will improve. Certainly, he knows he's got to. He's got to improve the team, and I think he will be able to do that. But it's going to take a while. It's going to take a little bit of time. But once they get on a bit of a run, you'd like to think they can really then start to apply a bit of pressure.
He didn't please everyone when he said after the match. He said a lot of that reminded me of Rangers of last season, which people felt was a bit of finger pointing. But you know what?
Yeah,
he's right.
Well, he probably is right, and he probably does feel that he hasn't quite got his message across yet, and that it's going to take a bit of time, as I said, for him to really implement everything that he wants. But they got to do it. They got to do it quickly, Jeff. They don't want to lose a couple more on the spin, because then all of a sudden the pressure and all of that will really mount. So I think Derek very aware that they need to sort things out quickly.
Yeah, I think he needs a leader. In the dressing room and on the pitch as well. Rangers fans, love to hear from you. 2 games, 5 points behind Celtic. You're fearing the worst. Can Derek McInnes turn it round? 03717 2233 44 is the number to call. Up next, we'll take a look at some back pages.
I anticipate Arsenal to absolutely go again and just be as good as they've been this season. The key element for me on the title this year is Rodri. If Rodri's a Manchester City player throughout the whole course of the season, Manchester City will win the league.
That's a shouting off, that is, isn't it?
Do you disagree? If Manchester City lose Rodri and he goes to Real Madrid, they will not win the league.
I know what you're saying, but I look at it as well from because Anderson's coming, isn't he?
Yeah. So he's not Rodri.
I know he's not Rodri.
But he'll benefit from playing alongside him.
Yeah, that would happen.
But if you leave him on his own in there, I think you've got carnage.
I do know what you're saying, but I think there's more of a factor that Maresca might not be up for it either. You don't know yet.
I think he's up for it.
You reckon he's up for it?
I think he's up for it.
We'll see.
He knows that club. He's been at that club. He understands how that club works.
You're talking like a real Manchester City supporter.
He went to Chelsea. He did.
Are you Blackburn? You're a Blackburn fan, didn't you?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Hold on a minute.
We'll talk about their dismal summer in a minute.
What about the other teams?
Why are you doing this? Why are you deflecting?
Well, I'm just trying to say.
All I was doing was talking about the Premier League title race. That's all I was saying. And I was just saying that the big impact, the key piece of information for me is Rodri being a Man City player throughout the whole course of the season. And if he is, Manchester City will win the league.
Cool, but that's a shout.
Do you not think so?
So where was he last season?
Getting back from his ACL, mate. Do you not think so?
No, listen, mate.
So you're tipping Arsenal. You think so? You believe in what I said at the start of the show, that you believe that we're entering a dynasty time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hang my hat on it.
Runs the all-time loser, and Hunter is down when it feels a business craving.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Andy Townsend is with me today. You have to be of a certain generation to remember that was a language. Miles, by the way. But it's a legendary track called Locomotive with Breath by Jeff Stelling. Why are we playing it? Because their flute-playing lead singer, Ian Anderson, is 79.
79 today?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
I mean, they were a flute player. They were a curious mix between metal and sort of folk music almost. As well. Aqualung, one of the best albums in history. You want a little taste of the 70s. Have a listen to that. Couple of little texts here. Simon says, morning, Jeff. I think you're doing the Millwall keeper a bit of an injustice. He saved all of the QPR penalties. They were decent penalties, to be fair. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Simon. He did save them, but if he's saving them all, they're not decent penalties, are they? You know, with the best will in the world.
Tell you what, he's done well, though. He must have had a few written down on the old water bottle in the back of the goal, because to save 4 takes some doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, if they've known where the QPR penalty takers were putting their spot kicks in the first round of the EFL Cup, the coaching staff, they've done their job, haven't they? They deserve a medal, that's for sure. Tony the Welkman on a tranquil Bognor Beach says, I hope the Hammers sign Troy Parrott, plays high at the pitch, sitting on the shoulder of defenders.
He's a good finisher, Troy Parrott. Jeff.
Yeah.
He's got that, he definitely has that knack of being in and around where that ball's going to drop. He sees it, he recognises it, and he can, when he gets there, he can finish. He really can.
Yeah.
So he's done very well in Holland. He really has. And
where does he play with Castellanos?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that I honestly think that someone like Troy could work at a club like West Ham. I do.
Yeah.
Castellanos, I mentioned, is full of running. Troy, yeah, he's not that sort of player. He doesn't want to charge around all over the place. But when it comes in the box and there's others in there with him, he seems to get a yard of space and he can finish.
Yeah. So doesn't want to charge around. He's sort of McCoist style player.
Good shout. That is a very good shout.
Right, 6:21. Time for a look at the back pages with Costa Express.
The Costa Coffee Break on talkSPORT, sponsored by Costa Express. Ground beans and fresh milk. Quality coffee.
And Laura Kirk-Francis is with us. Hi, Laura.
Morning.
Good
how are we
morning,
doing?
Laura. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. We're going to start with Arsenal, not just because of me, but because Bruno G is across a lot of the back pages. Arteta putting a lot of hope behind Bruno G. The Daily Express, Arteta's special brew. Our warrior will fight to take us higher. In the Mirror, they've gone with Brew La La. Arteta is purring over their new boy. Andy, Arteta's clearly talking about taking Arsenal to the next level. What exactly that means, we don't know, but probably we're thinking Champions League, etc.
Yep.
Is this the right area that Arsenal needed to address to do that? It feels like putting a lot of a gamble on an area where a lot of Arsenal fans would have thought, well, we're quite
They're
solid
well covered
here.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I do think that when top players come available, when they are, Jeff and I were speaking about this with regards to Vinny Jr. a week ago. I do think when they're available, and I think you are a club that are now looking to build on the success that Arsenal had last season, I think you should be interested. And I really like him. Yeah, whether or not there are other areas of the team. I mean, I don't think there's a team better equipped in midfield than Arsenal in the entire division. They have got. They have so many options in there. It's almost embarrassing compared to everybody else. So I tell you what, which three? I'm talking about two central midfielders and a number 10. Which three Mikel Arteta would start with out of that lot is a question and a debate in itself. But I really like Bruno Guimaraes. He can do a little bit of everything. Not the quickest, so he's not going to sprint away from people. But I think we all like and admire his quality, and I think his attitude as well. I think he does. He does love Premier League football, and he's always out there giving his best.
Yeah, he's called himself a warrior.
Yeah, he's like
interviews,
that.
So that's what we expect from him. We'll talk a little bit more about Arsenal's pre-season a bit later because it's not been maybe as a lot of fans wanted. Over to Man United, the Rashford. I don't know if we can call it a saga. That feels a bit too much. The Sun say, rash landing, Marcus flies in to save his United career. Jeff, how do you see this playing out? Because Man United are playing AC Milan, Ruben Amorim's AC Milan. Remember, Rashford was dropped by Amorim in 2024. Where do you see this saga finishing, Jeff? Is this going to be a big comeback for Rashford at Man United, or is it going to end in tears?
Don't know.
Look in your crystal ball.
Well, it could go either way, couldn't it? You know, if he starts, and he's playing well and he's full of confidence. I think he did well on loan in Spain last year. Then that's great. But will he start? That's the first question for me. And if he's not starting, how long before he becomes upset about that? I think the truth of the matter is there aren't any options for Marcus Rashford on the table. So there were rumours about Turkey. He's not going to Turkey. I don't care. Mo Salah's gone there. which, I mean, everyone was absolutely staggered by, I think. But he's not going to Turkey. I don't see where Marcus Rashford's options are. He needs to, get on with it and knuckle down. But do you think he'll start?
Well, if you was thinking about what United have, and if you think of Cunha and Mbeumo in those wider areas, I think Marcus is going to find it difficult to knock one of those out of the way, because Mbeumo gives the perfect balance off the right side with his left foot, Cunha with his pace. Šeško, I think, gradually started to really get up to speed, and I happen to think with his height and everything else that he possesses, I think he could be a really, really impressive centre forward for United. So I think Marcus has got it full on to get in the United team. But the thing with him is, the thing with Marcus Rashford that I've seen in the last 18 months he's been out on loan, it's flashes, you see. It's flashes. It's only bits and pieces. I don't think there's ever been a consistent thread running through everything that Marcus is doing. He had a little spell obviously at Barcelona, not easy to go there, and he did reasonably well. Same at Villa, but there has to be more at 28 years of age and to Marcus's game than just these little moments, cameos here and there for 10 and 20 minutes. And he's got to be more significant in any team that he plays for. That's what I think when I look at him. Undoubted talent, but it's just bits and pieces you ever see.
Yeah, and as you said, that's going to be difficult if he can only produce those moments every now and then, if he's fighting for his place in the starting lineup. Just a quick one on Liverpool then. Andoni Iraola with a damning assessment of Liverpool after another loss at the weekend. They threw away a 2-goal lead again. Back at the Daily Mail, my Stars can't play 90 minutes. Iraola admits lethargic Reds have work to do. Andy, how worried would you be if you're a Liverpool fan looking at their pre-season?
Look, again, pre-season, particularly this pre-season of all pre-seasons, when we've just had a World Cup, the largest ever. So players are only just coming back now. Some of those have only been back 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever. So they're not going to be at the levels that they need to be. It's annoying that they get in front and then they're letting those slip. There's no doubt about that. But I genuinely wouldn't be overly concerned with whatever you are seeing, wherever it is in the world right now. The real stuff starts in a couple of weeks, and then that's when we'll start to get a good measure of who's where and how they're all looking. But right now, yeah, slightly annoying when you get in front in a game and you're letting it slide, particularly 2 on the spin. But it's not devastating, I don't think, to what Iraola wants to do.
And I agree with that to a large degree. And I'm always very dismissive of pre-season friendlies. My only concern was that was a strong Liverpool side. It was on paper a strong Liverpool side, and defensively they seem to have so many issues, and I'm wondering if this is, and Andoni Iraola, if this is what's going to happen this season. They're going to go out and score a lot of goals, but they're going to concede a lot as well, and they do need a partner for Virgil van Dijk.
Well, they're talking about
that is for sure
Araujo, Jeff, aren't they?
Yeah, and is he the answer?
Well, again, look, vastly experienced, big club mentality, so should be able to carry that into Anfield. That should be okay for him. But exactly how quick those two develop and how and look, Virgil van Dijk, we all know, is a supreme central defender. He is, but he's not going to get any better than what we've seen from him now at his age. So he's got to find the right partner, the right blend.
By the way, I have been stitched up royally, and my excuse for not realising this was it was like 6:20 in the morning. Tony the Weltman on a tranquil Bognor Beach. Tony, there's a storm coming in. He says, morning, I really hope the Hammers sign Troy Parrott. Plays high at the pitch, sitting on the shoulder of defenders. Parrott,
no.
sitting on the shoulder of defenders. Went right over my head, Tony. Right over my head. Anyway, okay. Laura, thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.
Indeed. And that was thanks to Costa Express.
The Costa Coffee Break on talkSPORT, sponsored by Costa Express. Ground beans and fresh milk. Quality coffee.
look at Real Madrid. Go and look at... This is the point that I think Gabby was making this morning. I know that he was making it regarding trophies and what have you, but look at the brand value.
180 million.
There you go. Right. That's how big that football club is.
Right, that's a lot.
That's how big that is as a worldwide entity. 180 million, and you're talking about him coming to a club that has 32 million followers on Instagram. Again, these are very basic metrics. Very basic metrics. But Vinicius Junior is in a completely different stratosphere. All this talk about him coming to Arsenal throughout the whole course of the summer has just been manipulation from an agent trying to get the dude a few more quid. That's what it is. He was never in a million years going to be an Arsenal player this summer. That's what it is. It's just manipulating the market. Like, see if I can get some more money for my guy. Yeah. Why would he come to Arsenal?
I said that was agent talk. Agent talk. Just using Arsenal as a
leverage.
A tool.
Yeah. Arsenal are interested. Oh, right, wicked. Brilliant. Arsenal, champions of England. Right, well, let's use them. Yeah. Let's use them. Go back to the table with the Real Madrid lads. Forward. Yeah, he's coming out of contract. You know what I mean? He needs a few more zeros on this contract. Yeah. Okay. We're going to sign Yandy Mande. Let's put some pressure on you. No, don't worry about that. Vinny Jr. ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Is it?
Come on. You can't leave. I just don't see leaving Real Madrid as a... you don't leave Real Madrid unless Real Madrid leaves you.
That's it.
That's it, mate.
Unless you come to the end of your time on your way, son.
Can't have a supermodel girlfriend and you leaving your supermodel girlfriend.
She leaves you.
For the dinner lady. Like, you know what I mean?
The dinner lady! You can't call Arsenal a dinner lady.
Oh, it's love, innit? It's love.
There's a lot of talk about the independent football regulator. Some people love the sound of it, others don't. But what actually is it? And is it going to be any good for the game? In simple terms, it'll be an organisation not controlled by the Premier League, the EFL or the government, which will make sure all clubs are financially stable and don't rip off the fans. The aim is to make sure what happened to Bury, Derby and Reading doesn't happen again. Now, a significant reason clubs go under is because of dodgy owners financially mismanaging the club, but in theory, these should be a thing of the past with the new regulator. They'll be able to use data from the National Crime Agency to perform stronger fit and proper persons tests and can even force owners to give up their stake in a club, which for certain supporters might be a welcome relief. It's likely good news for the EFL. The tension between them and the Premier League over a fair financial deal has been increasing in recent years. As it stands, talks have broken down. The Premier League backed out of recent negotiations, but the regulator will have the power to force through a deal, meaning more money for clubs lower down the pyramid. Now, this might sound simple, but in reality there's concerns this will open a legal can of worms, which could result in messy court cases involving the Premier League and the regulator. Now, that might all sound great, but do we really need it? Some say the downfall of Reading and Bury is an exception, not the rule. So as a whole, the most successful footballing pyramid in world football doesn't need regulation. They say it scares investors who can help grow the game. If those investors go elsewhere, well, the Premier League may no longer be the destination for the best players in the world.
Good morning, 6:34, Monday, August the 10th, another glorious day outside. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend and Arnold Clark. It's the perfect time to upgrade your car. Get 2 years free servicing when you buy a used car in the upgrade event. Check it out online. Right, former Spurs star Dele Alli's been in the news this weekend with a potential return to football being talked about. talkSPORT understands he's been linked with a move to West Ham. One of his former managers, Sean Dyche, thinks he still has time to make a comeback.
He was training with Seth So I walked through and I was like, oh, goodness, I hadn't seen him. Give him a big hug and that. He looked amazing, looked fresh, and he looked really at it. And he just can't quite rekindle. I would love to see him come through it. I really would, because what a player. I mean, I remember being a kid at Tottenham, MK Dons.
MK Dons, yeah.
Everyone wanted him, by the way, but to be fair, Tottenham stuck their neck out and went 5 million at the time. Yeah. It's a lot, by the way. It was a lot then.
Yeah.
Forget that now, it feels like.
5 million, and we loaned him back for a season, and then we had him.
Yeah, and he was unbelievable. And he never looked back, and then just lost his way, and then the rest is history. But I'd love to see him rekindle it.
Well, I think we all would love to see him rekindle it, but the question is,
can he? Oh, I would doubt. I would doubt that. Listen, I sincerely hope, as Sean just said there, that Dele can. When he first sort of appeared on the scene, he was as good a goal scoring running midfielder that we'd seen since Frank Lampard. Really, I think he was brilliant in that one particular season, Jeff. I think he's got 20 plus goals, and he was amazing. But it's been such a long time now since Dele's been able.
It's been 6 or 7 years since he really showed anything. And at Como, Sean referenced that there. He made one appearance at Como, and he was sent off 10 minutes into his debut. Never appeared again.
No, I would be very, very surprised if Dele's able to come back with any genuine consistency. I mean, we're talking about Marcus Rashford moments ago, 28-year-old coming back to Man United after a sort of 15, 18 months away on loan somewhere, whether he can get back up to the levels that they require. I know we're talking about West Ham here, but I'd be very, very surprised. That it's just too long. It's just in that amount of time, the edge goes, the competitive edge goes. Mentally, you're not quite where you're as strong as obviously you once were. Your body is obviously no longer able to cope with the demands, and everything's sort of going against you a little bit. I'd be amazed if Dele can get back. Good luck to the kid, and he still wants to have a go, clearly, but I'd be very surprised if he can.
Yeah, no, I think everybody feels that way. He's 30 now. He's not kid anymore.
No.
I'll be very surprised.
Yeah.
Very surprised if we see him at West Ham, and very surprised if he manages to cut the mustard in the Championship as well. But I hope I'm proved wrong.
Yeah, those probably any sort of deal that Dele would do would be a pay-as-you-play kind of effect. And again, if you're slightly below par, you're easy to leave out when you're part of that sort of scenario.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden you start to look like you're not quite getting there, then all of a sudden you just push to one side. So it's going to be twice as difficult for him to try and rekindle what was once there, because he was a proper young player. He really was.
He really was.
Really
was.
Yeah.
Now, Man City wrapped up their Asia tour in Seoul last night, 3-1 win over Atletico Madrid. A couple of goals for Omar Mamouche. Off the pitch, Enzo Maresco expects Rodri back on Friday. Still questions about his future, of course, with links with Barcelona and Real Madrid, as it happens as well. Let's hear from a man who's out in Seoul covering City's pre-season. It's the Athletics Man City correspondent, Sam Lee. Morning, Sam.
Morning, fellas.
Morning, Sam.
So, Sam, I mean, first of all, important tour for Enzo Maresca, I guess. Have you seen any sort of change in the City style from Guardiola to Maresca?
Yeah, they seem to be a bit more direct. Like Guardiola's style, and I don't mean to do Maresca down at all. I'm just trying to paint the picture. Guardiola's style was like a work of art, isn't it? Like, he would trust the players, and the players he had in the heyday, like Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, these kind of technicians, Laporte, Stones, you have as many touches as you want. You can figure it out. We'll get up the pitch together. With Maresca, it's right. We're going to play the ball out there. We're going to put it back in here. We're going to bounce it back to the centre back, and we're going to go. You've got different patterns that he's relying on, different set patterns, and maybe not so many solutions as Guardiola, but, he's the best manager of all time. But it means they're quite direct, and he likes to get the ball out wide. And we've seen Semenyo in particular, but also Savinho, really flying at the fullbacks. And I think it's going to be quite exciting. I think it's going to be more dynamic. It's going to be more end-to-end. They're going to have less control. They might lose a few matches, but it could be fun. And when you put Haaland in that, if it's going to be end-to-end and there's one-on-ones and all this kind of stuff, it could be quite exciting. So that's how it's shaping up so far.
Sam, obviously, look, they've had so many brilliant central midfield players. Rodri, well, it looks like, I would imagine if Barcelona up their game a little bit, they'll probably get their man. So that then leaves them with the likes of Kovacic, Reinders, and was Phil Foden the 10?
Yeah, that's kind of how it's been so far. It's interesting because Kovacic has been starting. Nico Gonzalez is been on the bench. Obviously, they've got Elliot Anderson to come in.
Yeah.
And if Rodri goes, they're going to do their best to replace him. I think they still like Enzo Fernandez at Chelsea. But they're looking at Bouhaddi as well, the 18-year-old who was at the World Cup in Morocco from Lille. So they've got irons in the fire there. But yeah, on the tour, it was largely Kovacic, largely Reinders and Foden will number 10. Yeah, Foden's obviously got a big season ahead of him. Needs a bit of a fresh start, really. I would say he's had a slow summer. He's not quite shown sparkling form. But I guess it might be a case of baby steps with him. But again, obviously, they've got Turkey to come back in as well. So there are a lot of, they're going to get stronger in midfield, basically.
Yeah. So the question marks obviously still hang over Rodri. Less than 12 months left on his contract. The reports are that Barca offered City £38 million. The City wants 60. 60's, it's a bit unrealistic, isn't it, Sam, bearing in mind that he can walk away for free, or he can be available for free from January.
I suppose so, but obviously when it's negotiations, you've got to name a higher price than you're expected to get, really. But also, Kane went for a lot of money when he had 1 year left. Hazard to Real Madrid was a lot of money. And yeah, look, City, no, they don't have much leverage, but the leverage they do have is that he's a quality player. And he kind of showed that at the World Cup. Or the other thing is, when you're dealing with Barcelona, as they are doing now, because it seems like Rodri said no to Real Madrid and yes to Barcelona, is Barcelona, as much as City asks for high amounts, Barcelona always go low. And they try and do it in a way that, we might pay this later on, we might structure it in this way. So I think City are just trying to get as much as they can, which obviously makes sense. But especially when you're dealing with Barcelona. But yeah, that's the way it's heading. It looks like, Rodri will be going.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see. I was, wondering how we would cope with the Premier League season, because obviously it's one thing doing it in the World Cup, where some of the games, and he was brilliant, by the way, he's brilliant, but some of the games are less intense than they would be in the Premier League week in and week out. Difficult situation in some ways for Omar Marmoush, isn't it? Because he gets a couple of goals there, Sam. He knows he's not going to be playing next season, or it's very unlikely he'll be playing next season when Haaland returns.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that City have had. Obviously, they had Julian Alvarez in that role from 2022. He signed at the same time as Haaland. And he was great. And look, you see what he's doing at Atletico Madrid. In the season he had before he left City, he was replacing Kevin De Bruyne when he was out, and then he was replacing Haaland when he was out. You think how many players could do that? But he wanted to move on, partly because of that lack of game time when the main fella is there, as Haaland is. And that is the case for Marmoush. I asked Maresca yesterday what the situation is with Marmoush, and he said, look, it's the same as Trafford. He didn't play a lot last season, but when that happens, you want to play and, you're exploring other options. So, we could be looking at a transfer for Marmoush as well. I would say, though, he's not in the same league as Alvarez, in my opinion. I don't think it would be a huge loss if he did move on. I think he needs to be a bit more stronger and committed and consistent. But that said, it is obviously difficult when you're waiting for Haaland to not play.
Sam, brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, mate.
Cheers, guys. Take it easy.
The Athletics Man City correspondent Sam Lee there. What would you do with Rodri then? Would you be tempted in any way, shape or form,
just
Andy?
to say, see it out?
Yeah.
To say, well, they can afford to, can't they? Yeah. City are a club that can afford to do that. It's how reluctant Rodri is to go through that last 12-month period, Jeff. If he's adamant that he wants to go, and of course, Pep always had that kind of attitude that if you're not happy, if you don't want to play, if you don't want to do what I want to do, you can go. Kind of had that sort of feeling around the club. But Rodri was always very much one of his absolute regulars. But I think probably they might have. And again, I said this about. I've said this about other players. They might have seen the best of Rodri.
Yes.
Might have had the best out of him, and it's time to let it go and move on and take 30. Or sorry, it would be more than that, more like probably 40, 45 million quid. Take that sort of money for him and get on with your lives.
Yeah. And look, City fans, I think, would give him a very fond farewell as well, because he's been absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant as far as Man City are concerned. Don't forget, City back in action this weekend, Arsenal in the Community Shield final in Cardiff. It's on Sunday. It's live on talkSPORT from 3. Still to come on breakfast.
Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Spend £100 or more with a Travis Perkins trade account and you could win a brand new Ford Ranger. T's and C's apply.
Coming up on breakfast this morning, Newcastle United legend, now Hartlepool United manager Lee Clark will be with us after an opening day win. We'll ask him about Matthias Jaisler's winning start too, albeit in a friendly. And former Rangers and Liverpool midfielder Charlie Adam will be with us to look back on Rangers' horror start to the season. And that was our breakfast preview with our friends at Travis Perkins.
Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Spend £100 or more at any Travis Perkins Hire or Benchmarks branch as a trade account holder, and you could win a brand new Ford Ranger. T's and C's apply.
Chris, what about Man U? I fancy United have a much better season. I think Michael deserves this job, and I do think they're going to be up there. I think they're going to push. I think they're going to be strong.
No, I do. I think I'm so happy to see Carragher's just thriving. I think, obviously, having played with him, you know what kind of character he is. He's that composed and he's intelligent, and he's obviously bringing that into one of the biggest jobs in world football. And I think the run they obviously had at the end of last season, obviously in 2026, I think they were like number one in points taken. So for him to be able to have a full pre-season, bring in whoever he likes in terms of players and just have that belief, I think there's no one better kind of, steering that ship really. And no, I'm excited to see what the season brings for them.
I think it's going to be an interesting season, Chris, all round, because so many new managers. You don't know what to expect. Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs have spent big money as well. Whether they can try and get into that top four, and obviously the only one with a little bit of stability is probably Arsenal. But it's always hard to retain that title, isn't it?
100%. I think everyone's going to be hungrier than ever, and it is hard to kind of maintain that. You're now the golden ones that everyone wants to compete and to fight against. So I'm happy for United to be able to have that consistency from last season, because like you say, a lot of players are going to be coming, a lot of managerial changes. So I think United's got the perfect start at the minute, and hopefully hit the ground running.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with the headlines this morning. Rangers boss Derek McInnes has admitted it's been a rotten start to the season after a 2-1 home defeat against Hibs, 5 points behind Celtic already, and St Mirren, by the way. talkSPORT understands Galatasaray have made an inquiry to Arsenal over potentially signing Gabriel Martinelli. And Jose Mourinho has confirmed that he agreed to replace Sir Alex Ferguson at Manchester United in 2013 before changing his mind and rejoining Chelsea instead.
So he'd agreed tentatively to replace Fergie, so before Moisey, obviously, and then changed his mind at the last minute.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's good promotion for, what is it, a Netflix series?
Doco, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good promotional line, isn't it, Jose? Not that I'm a cynic at all. A man who played with him under a couple of different clubs, Chris Smalling, joined us on Breakfast last week. He had high praise for the Real Madrid manager.
I think there's certain managers where obviously he's managed so many different clubs, but the fact that obviously he's been there before, but he's also used to managing big players. And I think that's what shines through in as you'll know, in the top managers, how they manage these big characters, these big players. And there's no one better where he can just sit down with whatever players and he's honest and he can relate, he can laugh, he can joke. And I think there's probably not many people in the world who can manage a club like that. And I think he'll be a success and it won't be a surprise.
Well, we're about to find out, aren't we? Because it's a big job and lots of people have been there and failed, so...
And he's used to dealing with the top players. He's had so many of them at all the clubs that he's managed at, Jose. And I think he's one of his greatest strengths. I think he's always got the balance right with being totally supportive of his players and backing them 100%. But the second, Jeff, you don't do it for him, the minute you're not really doing it for him, you're out.
Yeah.
Gone. And he's made his mind up on you. And I think one of the things sometimes I see with some of the newer, younger coaches coming into the game, wanting to get a little too close sometimes with the players. Don't get too close to them. You need to have that bit of distance and you need to be able to tell them to clear off and go and train with the reserves for a month if that's the way you feel. If they're not doing it and if they're not performing for you and not giving what you believe they're capable of. Go and find it over there. I've not got time to wait over here with the first team. And I think you need to have that in your locker a little bit as a coach. And he's always been brilliant in that respect. Those that he's admired and loved working with, they've always backed him 100% and would run through brick walls for him. But those that don't do that, they're out the door.
I think probably the fact that he can be ruthless is one of the reasons he's got the Real Madrid job. Yeah. I think that the powers that be there have seen that they need a slightly different attitude, as you say. Young managers getting close to the players, maybe too close at times. It's not going to happen with Jose.
No chance.
No chance. Okay, time now to take a look at the latest EFL action in partnership with Sage.
EFLers on talkSPORT with Sage, official accounting software partner of the EFL, supporting the businesses behind the badge.
Right, tonight the Carabao Cup first round wraps up with a huge Devon derby. It's Plymouth against Exeter at Home Park. First League Cup clash since 1985. These days, of course, it's League One against League Two. Joining us now is podcaster Sam Down, the man who went viral for remembering every Argyle scoreline from the last 20 years. Morning, Sam.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Andy.
Hello, Sam.
So, Sam, come on, tell us straight away, what are the Plymouth-Exeter scorelines that stick out in your mind?
Oh, that's a good question. Thought you'd never ask. So we beat them 4-2 in the title season when we won the league with 101 points from 1-0 down and then 2-1 down. That was a big one. We beat them 3-0 back in February 2002 when we were also on the way to winning what's now known as League Two with 101 points. And we did the double over them in the 2014-15 season, Ruben Reid getting the first Devon derby hat-trick in nearly 19 years. That was in February 2015.
What about October 2019? What about the Exeter home game against Plymouth? Can you remember that one, or have you wiped that from your mind, Sam?
Yeah, that wasn't such a good one. On 26th of October, I believe it was, 2019, they beat Argyle 4-0 that day. So, yeah, I was there. I wasn't the away end, and I don't want to repeat that experience again.
Brilliant, mate. We've talked before, but Andy is sitting here, open mouths. He's just open mouths.
Very impressed with that. Very, very impressed. What about tonight's game then? What are you thinking? What's your first thoughts?
Well, obviously we're under huge pressure to win, being a home game, and Exeter are in pretty dire straits. They've lost a lot of players. They've not really managed to sign much over the summer. I think their manager was even saying that they liked the look of a couple of Torquay players but couldn't afford them. Probably good news for Charlie Baker, but not so good news for them. And obviously their manager himself only won about 1 of 15 games when he came in. So obviously from their point of view, they're thinking it's absolutely a free hit against local rivals. All the pressure's on Argyle, which it is, to be fair. So we've just got to not let the occasion overawe us. You know, it's a cliche, but play the game, not the occasion. In our 2 games against them last season, despite us nearly making the playoffs and them going down, they beat us 2-0 at their place. So they got a 2-2 draw at home park. So we've got to just, hopefully third time lucky for Tom Cleverley against them, not let the occasion get to us and just play the football we're capable of playing, and we should be able to win.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, obviously, in looking at the broader picture, you're going to be one of the promotion favourites this season in League One, but you've sold Laurent Tolage to Bristol City. Oh, look, £4 million, very nice indeed. But how the heck are you going to replace him?
I think with a player of that quality, you just don't replace him. It was a bit of a lightning in the bottle signing. In all truth, everybody knew on that final day when we knew we were going to be in League One again that he probably wasn't going to be staying. Certainly beyond the end of the transfer window, and probably not even for the start of the season. So it's turned out a player of like 19 goals, 8 assists. But what I will say is we do have 2 players who also got double-figure goals and strikers last season. Bim Peppel got about 16, and Owen Aseni from very limited minutes got about 11. So I'm hopeful that with more minutes, those 2 can step up. We've also, of course, brought in Will Evans from Mansfield. He himself got 11 in all competitions. So there are still very much goals in the team. But I think with a player of Tolage's quality, you have to do the old thing of spreading the fee across 3 or 4 positions rather than just spending it in one position, because trying to replace a player that good is just never going to happen.
Yeah. I know your local rivals, Sam. You got any sympathy for Exeter's plight? Obviously, massive financial issues. All the players that they brought in have been on free transfers, some of them from non-league football as well. Have you got any shred of sympathy for them?
From the financial point of view, genuinely I do, because Argyle has been there. In 2011, we were within pretty much days, if not hours, of going bust until we were, rescued by our new owner at the time, James Brent. So from that point of view, I do, because there's nothing worse than, obviously you've had it yourself, haven't you, Jeff, with Hartlepool, but there's nothing worse than that fear that you're going to not have a football club. So from that point of view, yes, but obviously from the football point of view, I'm quite happy to see them fail, to be honest. But, they're down in League Two now. I always like being in the league above them, really. I don't actually find games against them all that fun, to be honest. It's just from the point of view of like, it's always a very tense day. It's always that feeling from us as without being, too big time about it, us being the historically bigger and more successful club of the 2, it's always looks a bit bad on us if we don't win. There's always, that small minority who try and make a bit of aggro out of any derby. So I've never actually really enjoyed the games against them all that much. It's kind of a thing of get it done and let's just hope we don't embarrass ourselves. So I'm happy to be in the league above them, and I'm happy for that to continue for a while. But obviously, certainly nobody wants to see any football club go bust. Absolutely not.
Well, you'd rather be 2 leagues above them, wouldn't you? Let's be brutally honest, Sam.
Or 3 if we go up to the Champions.
Yeah. Sam, thank you very much indeed, mate.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Pleasure to be on.
Plymouth Argyle fan and podcaster Sam Down.
Be a good crowd there tonight.
There'll be a good crowd there tonight.
Well, tonight, won't it?
You were chuckling away. You were saying something that you'd about business names.
Yeah, well, I do love in this day and age, right? People seem to be far more creative with a business name. Gone are the days of Terry Smith and Son, and forgive me, Terry, if that is your business. But now all of a sudden people are getting far more creative with the way that they advertise their businesses. Spandau Valet. Cars, vans, boats and caravans.
Spandau Valet, brilliant. If you're of a certain generation.
Correct, right? I like that. Spandau Valet, that's a good one. Alan Cartridge does inks for your computers and stuff like that, right? And Fenson and Hedges Gardeners in a big gold van, and the writing on it is like it was on the old pack of cigarettes of Benson and Hedges.
Yeah, again, you've got to be of a certain generation. You don't see cigarette packets anymore, do you?
You don't,
for
but
good reasons.
Fencing and edges. So I'm sure there's plenty of new those businesses starting up now where people are coming up with a pretty catchy name.
Spandau Ballet, that's brilliant. That's genius.
Good.
Genius.
So text us them in, please.
Our EFL look ahead then was thanks to Sage.
EFLers on talkSPORT with Sage, official accounting software partner of the EFL, supporting the businesses behind the badge.
Up next, we'll be talking Liverpool after Andoni Iraola's side lost again.
Hussein, good morning.
Good morning, Shaban. Oh, Akbar Lahore. You're making me boil right now. I can't stand you, mate.
Oh.
You know, what have you won? What have you actually won, Gabi? You've not won nothing.
Yeah.
All you keep doing is just criticize Arsenal. What have you actually won?
Nothing, mate.
You know, it's actually funny that I used to like you as a striker, but now I can't even. I don't know what I used to see in you because you've won absolutely nothing. And Arsenal are gonna win stuff.
But
They're gonna
used to
win.
like
We've
me, you
just won
said.
the Premier League. Yeah, I used to, because, but now.
What did you like about me, though, from before?
Now he's your big gob. Sorry to say that. You keep criticizing Arsenal, but you just don't see how Arsenal are actually making. They're going places right now. We've just won the Premier League. You just even don't appreciate that we did that because you just don't hate Arsenal. That's your issue.
I love Arsenal.
No, you don't.
I do. Thierry Henry is my favourite player. I've got his shirt that I wear at home.
Don't insult my intelligence, Gabi, please.
I love Arsenal, mate.
No, you don't.
I do.
Let me finish by saying this.
Okay.
Why will not what's his name, Vini, not come to Arsenal? Because we are actually building that team. Because we are building. Why should he stay in Real Madrid? Especially what
Real Madrid
happened between him and Jose. Never. You know what? I don't know if I'm gonna get anywhere with you, but I said what I wanted to say.
Thomas Tuchel's busy trying to bring glory back to England for the first time since '66. But how did he get here? Well, from the sleepy town of Krumbach via some giants of European football, here's his journey to Wembley. Sitting around 60 miles west of Munich, Krumbach's population is less than 14,000 people. But Tuchel's friends there remember a boy whose ambitions lay far beyond the Bavarian community. His will to win was evident early. Tuchel often captained his youth football teams, and his school side lifted the national German football trophy in 1987. The Sport took the young defender on a whistle-stop tour of South Germany, from Augsburg to Stuttgart and then Ulm. A knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, though. Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart youth setup in 2000, hired by none other than Ralf Rangnick. Under Tuchel's stewardship, the club's under-19s won their league title in 2005. But Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract, feeling Tuchel had an abrasive personality. He went on to manage Augsburg's second team before spending 5 years at the helm at Mainz. He then followed in Jurgen Klopp's footsteps and moved from Mainz to Dortmund. Here, Tuchel secured his first major silverware, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more major trophies came next for Tuchel in just 5 glorious seasons. He won 2 Ligue 1 titles and a pair of domestic cups as PSG boss. At Chelsea, he famously lifted the Champions League as well as a Super Cup and a Club World Cup, and he also bagged a Bundesliga at Bayern Munich. And then, 4 months after leaving Bayern, Tuchel was unveiled as England's new manager.
I always wanted to come back to England. That was my big goal. I have the best memories of the country, of the league and of the players. The attitude towards the game, the attitudes from the supporters.
Well, here's hoping Tuchel can finally drag England over the line at a major tournament.
Good morning, 7 minutes past 7. It's Monday, August the 10th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend and Arnold Clark's Deal Drop. Get the new car feeling without the new car price. Discover some of their biggest savings and find your next car today. On the way through this morning, Ali McCoist has turned his phone off. But don't worry, we'll be joined by 2 former Rangers midfielders in Charlie Adam and Andy Halliday to react to their start to the season. New Hartlepool boss Lee Clark will tell me what to expect from the club this season. We might have a word on Newcastle as well. And we'll be rounding up all the latest transfer news with our very own Ben Jacobs. Andy asked a few minutes ago for sort of novelty names for businesses, if you like. A couple of people have sent me this one. Morning, Jeff and Andy. My mate's a plasterer. His business is called Fat Boy Skim, which I like.
See, that's brilliant. And I think that, and I bet you they get more work over a catchy name than...
You know what?
Not.
People will see their vans or whatever, and it's not a name you'll ever forget. Tom says a groundworks company in Battle, East Sussex, is called William the Concreter, which is terrific as well. Lots of brilliant ones. Tom says, another Tom, different Tom, bakery near me called Simply Bread. So you have to be of a certain generation to get some of these as well. But do keep them coming, won't you? Right, does anyone know what to expect from Liverpool next season?
Liverpool need defenders, they need midfielders, mate. You can't just go and try and outscore everybody.
We will finish. I'm telling you now, if we don't get the finger out now, we're going to be in the top 10 to 12.
Oh, come on, man. Stop that.
I don't think this is the start Iraola would have wanted. Coming to a truly big club, you're not sure you should be having to deal with these selection problems when you first start.
If they make Champions League, I think it will be a decent season for Iraola.
I think this Liverpool backline is a real concern to start the season.
A lot of people are writing them off. I don't think they're going to be as bad as everyone thinks, and I really love this manager.
Yeah, not the start that Andoni Iraola would have wanted, considering a lot of goals. Last 2 goals and games ending in defeat, despite being a couple of goals up in both of them. After watching his side lose at Anfield yesterday, he spoke to Liverpool TV.
I think quite similar to the game we played against Leeds, no? I think we played a really good first half, especially first 30 minutes. But right now, probably we don't have much more in terms of the level required, no, to play like this. And then they were much better in the second half. In the same way we were better in the first half, they were much better in the second half, and they deserve to turn around the game, yes. I think we are, right now, especially considering, no, we won the first 2 games, but the last 2, we cannot sustain the level that we want for all the game. As soon as we've made some changes, players start to get tired, we cannot sustain that level. So we have work to do.
Well, look, it is pre-season at the moment, isn't it? That's for sure. Look, for more on this, let's talk to the Telegraph's Merseyside correspondent, Dom King. Morning, Dom.
Morning, Dom.
Good morning, gentlemen. Are you well?
Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. Should Liverpool fans be concerned? Look, it is only pre-season, but that was a pretty strong team they fielded against Monaco, who didn't pull up any trees in the French league last season.
No, you're right. It is pre-season, but I think this is. I think it's a sign of the transition that Liverpool are going to go through. I think it's going to be a tricky season in terms of what he's having to do to the squad, remodel the squad, getting his ideas across. Look, from what I've seen of it so far, you can tell that he is a very good coach, and he's got good ideas on how he wants his team to be playing. It's all about being on the front foot. Where he's having problems at the moment is the fact that I don't think Liverpool have got enough players. I don't think they've got enough quality options for him, and that is the starting 11 could be good. But I'm not sure the squad depth at the moment is as it should be, and I think Liverpool have got an awful lot of work to do before the transfer window closes.
Yeah, you mentioned about him being a very useful coach, Dom. What's the most tangible thing that you're seeing when you're watching him at the moment?
So it was immediate. And the first game that I saw was in Nashville, and they played Sunderland, and it was. Look, it was the first game back after 10, 11 days. They'd only been in training, but you could see how high up he wants to play. You could see the passes are very short, sharp through the middle. Everything's going direct quickly. Right. It was a little bit more different to Slot style of methodical building up, having a one of your fullbacks come in and make a third central defender, and the patience that was the probing and prodding the Slot favoured. It's different than that. And Liverpool, when it clicks with Liverpool, it will be exciting. But I think it's such a shift at the moment that it's going to take time. Well, you saw his results at Bournemouth when he first came into the league. It took they never won for 9 games. Now, I'm not saying Liverpool are going to go 9 games without a win, but I do think there's going to it's a question there's going to be teething troubles as they just players coming back from the World Cup. He hasn't had everybody back for the amount of time that he would have liked, and I just think it's going to take time for it all to gel.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's going to need Virgil van Dijk to be at his absolute best. Lots of stories about Ronald Araujo coming in from Barcelona on loan. Is that a good move, or does it smack a shade of desperation?
No, Jeff, do you know what? The more I've thought about this over the weekend, I've been sort of trying to look for reference points back in Liverpool's past, and what sort of does this chime with. And the one that I've come closest to is Nicolas Anelka back in 2001. I remember when Liverpool got him on loan. They signed him at Christmas, the same day as they signed Milan Baros. And I remember the stories about why had Liverpool signed Anelka, because he'd obviously gone from Arsenal to Real Madrid. Things hadn't worked out there. He had the reputation. But he came in and he was absolutely fantastic for 6 months. And it was one of Houlier's biggest mistakes that he didn't sign him permanently when he could have done. He allowed Nicolas Anelka to go to Manchester City. But the point I'm making is Anelka arrived at Liverpool with a pedigree of playing at the top, of knowing what quality football is, and he showed that in the right surrounds. Now Araujo has had difficulties at Barcelona, but I don't think anybody would dispute the quality that he's got there. He was captain of them. He was captain of a Barcelona team that's won the league. Now that says everything about him. He can clearly play football. It makes tremendous sense on all kinds of on levels. He can play in two positions. He can play right back as well as centre half. And Liverpool need covering full back positions, particularly with Conor Bradley still out and questions over Jeremy Frimpong's durability. So it makes sense, and then they can look at it in 12 months' time to see whether they want to pursue the deal full time.
Brilliant. Dom, look, it's going to be entertaining at Anfield this season, that's for sure. Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, Dom.
Always a pleasure. Speak to you soon.
The Telegraph's Merseyside correspondent Dom King there. Paul in Burton says there's a restaurant near him, an Indian restaurant called Balti Towers. Ben and Teeps both said the same thing. Kebab Van in Bristol, Jason Donovan. Yeah, and Ash in Newcastle said there's a tanning shop in Blythe called Tans in Here. Tanzania.
Yeah.
Very good. She's utter genius. Yeah, some fantastic
brilliant
tips. Keep them coming, folks. Up next, we'll be talking Arsenal.
But the Vinny Jr. one was a audacious attempt, to say the least.
Big word for you.
I've been learning this book that I've been reading. They've got these big words in. I'm trying to keep them in my brain. No, but it was always going to be tough shit, man. Like Vinny Jr. leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, it just doesn't sound right. As Arsenal fans might get angry, I'll say it, but like, imagine Neymar Jr. at Barcelona. He's not going to leave Barcelona for Arsenal. They're always going to come to an agreement. Real Madrid aren't going to let a talent like that at 26. Do you know what I mean? What's he worth on the market? I know he's got a year left, but what's he worth, Vinny Jr.? Over 100 million easily. Real Madrid are never going to let that go. And Vinny Jr. in his mind won't want to leave Real Madrid. Imagine the crowds in Brazil, the people that love Vinny Jr. because he plays for Real Madrid. I just can't see it.
Well, that is interesting because it was my understanding that it was if he wanted to leave Real Madrid. There's never been a he wants to leave Real Madrid.
He's not said it, has he?
He's looking for the right offer. He's looking at Mbappe going, can I get money close to that? Can I get a deal close to that? And if they're not going to give me what I deserve, then yes, I would be interested in what Mikel Arteta is doing. And don't get me wrong, Arsenal are a massive club and they are on the verge of winning the Champions League. They're looking to go back-to-back Premier League champions. They absolutely can, right? They can. So, and I think he would get them over the line, but he's Vinicius Jr.
good morning. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend. Dave, who's a Chelsea fan, says there's a cleaning company in Bournemouth, Spruce Spring Clean.
Like
which is brilliant, isn't it?
That is absolutely brilliant.
Genius, isn't it?
It is.
I wonder how long people sit and think about names for their businesses.
Well, clearly, Jeff, they're devoting a fair bit of time to it, but by the sounds of it, you've got to have something catchy like that for it to really get going nowadays.
Yeah, fantastic. Bit of cricket now. Emilio Gay, England's opening batsman, past fit for the first Test match against Pakistan, starts next week. In Joe Root's first Test squad since being reappointed captain, there are recalls too for Dan Lawrence and Ollie Pope. No place for Sam Curran, who was widely tipped to replace the retired Ben Stokes. White ball captain Joss Butler recently recorded a podcast with Ben Stokes. He joined Breakfast on Friday. He ruled out the England captain making a return.
Knowing Ben, when he makes his mind up on something, it's usually made up. So he's been such a great player for England. He's irreplaceable. Those guys come around, once in a generation, aren't they? When you look at Flintoff and Botham and Stokes, they're generational players. So we all would be desperate for him to come back. But I think it'd take some persuading.
Yeah, and it's a crying shame. Because whilst I get the reasons why he wants to stand down, cricket at the moment needs a big stars like him,
big personality like him. Yeah. And also someone that is still able to produce his very, very best. Jeff, it's not like in any way, shape, or form his ability was on the wane, is it at all? No. Not at all. Big call, and it's a shame, obviously, from an England perspective, but he's made that decision and they've got to march on without him now.
Yeah. By the way, these business names, they've got to be good to get a mention today.
Right.
This one is, Simon says there's a driving school in Hull called Car Key and Clutch. It's genius, isn't it? Absolute genius.
Have they got the red and white car? Have they got the the big white stripe down the side of the car?
Yeah. Right, time now for this.
The Costa Coffee Break on talkSPORT, sponsored by Costa Express. Ground beans, fresh milk, real signature taste.
And Laura Kirk-Francis is back with us. Hi again, Laura.
Morning. My own contribution to these businesses. There is a fish and chip shop in Edinburgh called Chipsy Kings, which I think is very good.
Right. There are quite a few people who sent a fish and chip shop in called Frying Nemo. But I don't think I'd want to have my fish and chips from there. It would put me off, wouldn't it, you?
Yeah, I think it puts talkSPORT to shame, doesn't it? We talk about sport here, talkSPORT. Not particularly clever. We're going to talk about Arsenal.
You get what it says on the tin.
Yes.
You cannot go wrong, and you can't expect anything other than talking about sport on the station, but perhaps we need to think of something a bit punnier, maybe.
Well, I would ask people, but I've got a feeling
no.
suggestions for what we should be called might not be broadcastable.
Don't open that can of worms, my goodness. Yes, Arsenal. 3 friendlies so far. 1-1, lost 2. So they've beaten Girona, then lost to Real Betis and Borussia Dortmund. Before we talk about where they go from here in terms of signings, let's first hear from Victor Gyökeres. This was him talking after that Borussia Dortmund defeat yesterday.
A week from today, you'll be in the Community Shield against Man City. First of all, do you treat that as a friendly, or do you treat that as being, right, we're the champions, we've now got a mark on our back and everybody's going to want to beat us?
Well, treat
next week.
As a friendly?
Is it?
What do you mean?
It's a Community Shield, so I know there's like a little cup up for grabs, but in general it's seen as the last pre-season friendly. But is that how you're going to treat it, as a kind of warm-up, or as everybody's going to want to beat us this year because we're the champions?
I don't know what other people think, but of course we want to win that game for sure. There's no question about that.
Jeff, you've got your head in your hands there.
I just think Moose clear as mud there, wasn't it? The poor boy was obviously totally bewildered by the question, wasn't he? So.
That's one way of looking
By the way,
at it.
he's not the first.
No. I like to think he's making a joke out of it, but I think he's just very confused about it. Arsenal have looked uncharacteristically sloppy in pre-season. That's the first time they've conceded 3 goals in a row since 2023. Last time they actually conceded 3 was back in earlier this year to Man United. It doesn't happen often with Arsenal, so it is a bit of a warning sign. But the attacking issues that we had last season also remain. And off the back of the Vinny Jr. saga, lots of Arsenal fans will be demanding a new signing in that position. Andy, where do Arsenal go from Vinny Jr.?
Good question.
For me, I think it'd be very, very Arsenal to look at what they've got at the moment, which is Martinelli and Solis, and say, yes, that's enough. But we are hearing reports that Galatasaray are interested in Martinelli. Arsenal only willing to sell if they can replace Martinelli. So where do they go? Are there any names that you haven't heard who you think would be good?
Honestly, Laura, I think again, it's not like they're wanting Martinelli to necessarily go. I don't think that's ever going to be the case. However, if they got proper money for him, they might be prepared to trade. Trading players as well for Mikel Arteta keeps everything alive, and it just keeps everything a little fresher around the camp, which is very important for any club. But who they go to, I mean, losing Trossard for the money that they lost him for, I thought that was a slightly strange one in some ways, because he was always good value for a really important goal. Leandro Trossard, always a clever player coming off the bench, always wanted to affect the game. But where you go, I totally got going for Vinny Jr., but I don't get going for just another one. And
not Barcola. There's lots of reports that
I don't see Barcola at the sort of levels that others do. Clearly,
145 million.
I don't see
having
him
a laugh.
I don't see him at anything like that sort of money. I really don't. I think he is way behind Kvaratskhelia and Desiree Doué. Personally, I think they're far better players. I don't think he's got the end product in his game to warrant 140 odd million quid. No chance. And I don't think I'd swap Martinelli for him. I think I would.
For Barcola?
No, I'm honestly, because I think Martinelli knows this division, has proven himself now to be a valuable member of Arsenal's team, and I don't see that it's that much of a massive trade up for the sort of money that they'd need to invest in him.
Yeah, I mean, I have to disagree with you there, Andy. I think Martinelli, for me, I've just run out of a little bit of patience with him. One goal last year in the Premier League. He was good in the Champions League, but this has been an area that Arsenal have struggled with for a number of seasons, and I think it will be really, really disappointing for Arsenal not to address it in a bigger way than they've done already. Solis has shown some really good signs in pre-season. I'm putting my eggs in the Barcola basket, but maybe I'm just
not going to pay 145 million pounds for him. They're just not.
I don't.
You know, if that's what, and okay, there'd be some negotiation available there, but seriously, look, he is rapid. He's rapid. But what else is he? I'm not sure. And by the way, Arsenal get no sympathy from other football. Look at the players they've signed. Look at the money they've spent in the last few years. Gyökeres and Rice and Zubimendi and Eze, Bruno Guimaraes and Mosquera and Nkapie and Madueke and so many others. I think they've got a fantastic squad. You can have too many players. You can't keep everyone happy. How much is Eze going to play this year? You know,
well, look, there is the argument that Eze could play a little bit more on the left. His preferred position is a bit more central.
Definitely.
But I think, to your point though, Jeff, this is still the area that we need help in. And you can say we've spent all this money, but if you look at what Arsenal struggled with last year and what they will struggle with this season, it's still in that same area. And for me, you need to address it regardless of where else you've spent.
Yeah. Well, look, it'd be interesting, Laura, to see if they are now really active in that position, or whether or not they're prepared to go with what they have. Max Dowman, big season for him coming up.
Yeah,
can he now
still
start?
Got Nwaneri, who's
again. These boys are all
on the right hand side. Then.
Laura, I'm gonna have a small bet with you.
Okay.
A small bet with you right now. If Arsenal do not sign anybody to play on the left hand side, they will still win the Premier League this season.
Oh, there's a statement, Laura.
Oh, so you're saying that as is, Arsenal
win the league? Yeah, completely.
Okay, I'll take that away and think about it, Jeff.
Okay. Meanwhile, Tina has come up with a brilliant. Hi, Jeff. There's an off-licence in Bootle called Amy's Winehouse, which is great. Thank you, Tina. That was all thanks to Costa Express.
The Costa Coffee Break on talkSPORT, sponsored by Costa Express. Ground beans, fresh milk, real signature taste.
Up next, we'll be looking at Marcus Rashford's future. after his return to Manchester United.
Your thoughts on Vinicius Junior, then Arsenal losing out in that? Were you hopeful or were you doubtful?
Do you know what? I was a little bit in the middle, really. I thought, look, he's a player that would certainly improve Arsenal. There's no doubt about that. He's got so much talent. But also, he's at Real Madrid, like Andy Townsend said. Why would you want to leave Real Madrid, as Andy says? But whether he wanted a different change of lifestyle and whatever, whether he wanted to go to London, I don't know. But I think what he's done, he's played the market, isn't he? So he's gone, right, we know Arsenal are interested. His agent's probably going to Real Madrid. Well, Arsenal, we're thinking about going to Arsenal, and they've panicked a little bit, probably got an unbelievable deal now, 6-year contract. And he's gone, right, okay, yeah, I'll stay then. Yeah. Done. And so he's played both sides, really, which a lot of agents do, a lot of players do as well. But I was always 50-50, really. If he comes to the club, great. But if he doesn't, it's not the end of the world.
Absolutely, you move on from it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's absolutely dead now. He is staying at Real Madrid for 6 years, as you mentioned. But, you know, how important was that to get that idea that Arsenal were starting to flirt with world-class players, with somebody who would be a marquee signing?
You've got to do that. You've got to do that.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, you've got to do that.
They've done it. The champions got a final. You know, why wouldn't you?
And the
build
club,
on?
the club's in a really good position at the moment with finances and whatever. I mean, Josh Kroenke's really stepped it up at another level really now and he trusts the manager Arteta to say, right, you know, we're going to really go with him and see what he needs.
Boxing. It's a sport that makes multi-millionaires out of the world's best fighters, but it's not as flush with cash as you'd think. We all see how much the likes of Tyson Fury or Canelo Alvarez make every fight, but that's not the case for those just starting out, or those who aren't even at that level. For example, if you've just turned pro and don't have a promoter, you have to sell your own tickets, cover the cost of the venue yourself, and pay the taxman at the end of it. You might not even break even, but if you do, you're looking at 5 to 10 grand max. A mid-tier fighter might make more like 10 to 50 grand, but you still have to give up half of that in costs. So unless you're fighting for a world title, it's tough to make money. One potential way of doing it, though, is being a journeyman. Here's former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver explaining how that could work.
They want to fight every week, and they can be going in against the prospects, so they can demand good money, and they might be demanding like 5 grand, 10 grand for a 6-rounder or something because they're going in with a prospect. He gets through that, the journeyman gets through that fight, and he can fight again next week.
I mean, even so, it's not much, and you're getting punched in the face for a job. It's only really at the top level, i.e. fighting for titles, where you're earning up to 6 figures and can afford a diamond chain or that Ferrari. So boxing isn't a sport that allows you to retire at 40 and live a life of luxury. Much like a lot of other sports and jobs in general, it takes an awful lot of luck quite early in your career to really make it worth your while.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend with me. We're with Arnold Clark, the perfect time to upgrade your car. Get 2 years free servicing when you buy a used car in the upgrade event. Check it out online. I'm just going to give the case to the defence here, because Ryan's an Arsenal fan and he likes to have a dig.
Go on.
He said, Jeff, who said Arsenal were looking for sympathy? Why are you trying to make this look like Arsenal are penny pinching? You know what, Ryan? I just listed all the players, or some of the players, that Arsenal spent big on last season. You really have to listen, mate. Seriously. He said, stop spreading fake narratives. Arsenal don't want to spend £140 million on Barcola because he isn't worth that. Hey, Ryan, guess what? I just said that, okay? But thank you for confirming everything that I thought. So, is Marcus Rashford set to save his Manchester United career? Well, it's all over the back pages this morning. He's back at Carrington. He'll join the squad in Dublin for pre-season after being handed the 14 shirt. Former assistant manager Rennie Mullenstein joined breakfast last week, insisting Rashford could still have a role to play under Michael Carrick.
I think that just needs a very good conversation between Michael and Marcus, because I'm sure that Michael rates Marcus as a player and he can still make a difference. So if that is the case, and again, if they are aligned in terms of how they can best use Marcus, then there is an opportunity he could still stay. I can't see why.
Well, I mean, obviously, in the past, Rashford's had a proper relationship with Carrick, hasn't he? So
that helps.
Yeah,
that helps.
He's not played for United since December 2024. I think if he does play for me, Andy, so much will depend on how he starts. He has to get off to an absolute flyer.
I think, again, I would agree with that. Marcus, look, could he play down the middle? Yes, he could, but may figure there a little bit more. He gives them an option in that respect. He's always looked happier. He's most comfortable coming off that left-hand side on the right foot, which he's very dangerous when he starts hitting things, and he's confident from in and around the edge of the box. He can be very useful. But again, I come back to what I said an hour ago, Jeff, in terms of for Marcus Rashford. There needs to be more to Marcus than 10 minutes here and there. And I feel he's become too much of that. For someone who's as gifted as he is, for someone who's paid, quite frankly, what he's paid, you need more. You want to see more from him. And that's got to come from within him. For whatever reason, Barca had a player there that they could have done a deal with for, I don't know, whatever it was, 30 plus million quid, and didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Went and paid double that for Anthony Gordon. Now, the wages and the huge salary, of course, that plays a part in all that. But you'd have thought something could have got sorted in that respect. But for whatever reason, they didn't want to keep him. And I think it's for the same reason that they see a talent there, but can he do it consistently and for long enough?
Roger says, good morning. Sometimes some of you talkSPORT presenters have agendas with certain players. Roger, we don't. We have what's called opinions, the same as you do, mate. Marcus Rashford scored 14 goals and 14 assists last season. You're absolutely right in all competitions. Let's see if Gordon can match or do better. The problem is Marcus's wages. I would have him at Arsenal. And you're dead right, Roger. 325 grand a week, reportedly, he's on. So if you're on that sort of money, you have to deliver probably more consistently than he has. But I completely agree with you. You know, last season, his record, 14 goals and 14 assists. Terrific.
Yeah, and again, look, he definitely has got great ability. And managers in football and football clubs have always felt that if there's a player out there with genuine ability, we might be the team. I might be the manager to get the very best out of that. I can tap in. Someone might have their hand up saying, I can tap into Marcus Rashford and get the very, very best from him. But they're not, and they don't seem to be able to do that. Now, for Michael Carrick, he has a player coming back, a talented one. But I think even he I'm sure, will have had a chat with Marcus along the lines of, it's now time for you, mate. You've really got to deliver. I can't wait for you forever anymore. And I think that's what he's going to have to do. So we'll see. I hope he gets off to a flying start, as you say, Jeff. If he can nick a couple of goals early on and just remind people of how talented he can be. But starting in the team and being consistent with his game and working exceptionally hard, some of the things that he's been criticised for in the past, that's what he's got to rediscover.
Just before we move on, anonymous text says there's a website selling door handles online called Love Handles. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Right, it's time for a bit of this.
Destination unknown, no.
Yeah, that time when we're looking at a few players and where they might go to, if anywhere, this season. Let's start with Jed Spence. Off the back of a very successful World Cup as far as he's concerned.
Excellent.
There've been a lot of rumours about Liverpool and Inter Milan. My understanding is that Liverpool are not interested in Jed Spence.
What sort of money would he be, Jeff? What would he be, Jed?
I don't know.
No.
I mean, not a clue, really. I mean, obviously, his issue is, I look and I think, well, you know, after the summer that you've had, maybe stick it out where you are. Of course, Spurs have signed Andy Robertson this summer. He can play either side. They've got Pedro Porro on the other side, got Destiny Udogie as well. But I don't know, if it was within England, where would he go? He wouldn't get one of the big clubs, would he?
Well, we've been talking about Liverpool this morning. We've been talking about a club like Liverpool that could do with some more bodies in there. Dom King earlier spoke about that with us. Could Jed Spence go there and improve their back four? I think at the moment he does. From what I saw in the summer, I think he does. I didn't see it always at Spurs with Jed, but certainly in the summer, I thought he played as well as anybody in some of those England games, and would have no doubt surprised, I think, a lot of people with the level of his game. I thought it was very consistent. Could he go and do a job for Liverpool? I think he could, Jeff. I do. I think he could. I think being versatile, playing on either side, is always going to be good for you. It always gives you more of a chance of getting a game. The only problem with that versatility, sometimes it leaves you you're the 12th man, you're the 13th man. You're never quite started enough. You're always that player that can come on and adapt when you're thrown in at the deep end somewhere. But I think Jed Spence showed that he can be a player. I don't think Frimpong has done anything at Liverpool personally so far. I think he's been very ordinary in terms of what's absolutely required with the quality in that final third. I'm not sure if that's Jed's strength either, in all honesty, but I do think defensively he's a decent player. He looks in those one-on-ones. He looks very difficult to get beyond.
Yeah. He certainly had a great summer. It's a shame for Liverpool because Conor Bradley, his injury looks to be a terrible injury, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
Chelsea forward Liam Delap, his future at Stamford Bridge is up in the air. Well, that's an understatement in some ways, bearing in mind, you know, they've just brought in Danny Welbeck and they already have João Pedro. Newcastle and Nottingham Forest said to be amongst those in the race. I've read Everton as well, who are, you know,
they need a striker. They need something more.
Yeah, what do you think?
I could see David Moyes potentially able to get a bit more out of Liam Delap. It's just not really happened for him at Chelsea, and as you say, with new faces coming in, I think his game time's going to be limited. Would definitely need to move. I think Everton. I get the Forest. I get that sort of club that he could potentially go there and do well. Needs the right type of service, Liam. He's a bustling, hard-working, kind of big, upright centre forward. Doesn't look to have that natural flair and an ability that you can just knock it up to him and he'll make something out of nothing. He needs some sort of standard service, but I think those clubs you mentioned, Jeff, could work for him. Another one, João Paulinho. Surprised that no one's come and absolutely done something with him yet.
Well, Newcastle are being strongly linked with him, or
Villa have been
Emil Hörberg, yeah.
Yes, you know, and again, so there's still a lot of work to be done, I think, for a lot of the teams, and of course, players coming back. There will be injuries, one or two. The players that they thought were going to start, all of a sudden they're on the treatment table for a few weeks, and then the clubs get a little bit panicky and might do a bit more business, but. There are some recognisable names out there that I think would do a number of teams a turn. I really do.
Yeah. Got a text here. It's just an interesting one. If you're a regular listener, you know the Greeno the Postie contributes a lot, okay? And he said, Jeff, as a Spurs fan, we should be starting Spence in front of Pedro Porro for me. Gives us more. He says, but, P.S., my last week as a postie, Jeff. So it'll only be Greeno, not Greeno the postie. Soon. Greeno, what are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you up to next, Greeno? What's happening?
What's the future hold for you, Greeno? Let us know, mate.
Jeff, when he's a Spurs fan there, Greeno.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some really interesting midfield battles this season in the Premier League. There always is, but I just think there's a lot of teams with a lot of very good players in there. I like the look of Tonali, Mateus Fernandes, James Maddison as a midfield three. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot wrong with that, do you?
No, not at all. And interestingly, in the Racing Post's pre-season pull-out, they do it every year. It's absolutely brilliant, by the way. Their predictions, they have Spurs finishing 5th this season. I think Spurs fans would snap their hands off.
Not many.
For that, for what it's worth, I don't think it's unrealistic, though.
No, I don't. Not at all. I think they've got every chance and I think they should be aiming. I'm sure De Zerbi will be thinking about his team as a genuine top 6 team. That squad is a decent squad of players.
Still to come on breakfast.
Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Spend £100 or more with a Travis Perkins trade account and you could win a brand new Ford Ranger. T's and C's apply.
Been a torrid start to the season for Rangers. We'll hear from former midfielders Charlie Adam and Andy Halliday about what's going wrong. We want to hear from you too. 03717223344. Rangers fans, are you fearing the worst? That was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Want to win a brand new Ford Ranger? Just spend £100 or more using your Travis Perkins trade account to enter into the draw. T's and C's apply.
Smoke without fire, of course not. He is interested in the Arsenal project.
Arsenal
if he's to leave Real Madrid.
Arsenal going for Vinny Jr. is like me sending Rihanna a message on Instagram saying that I'd love you to come to the Bullring in Birmingham. I want to take you around Birmingham on a date. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, he's not leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, one league title in over 20 years, can't win a Champions League in their whole existence. He's not going to come to Arsenal. He's used Arsenal to get an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound a year, and he's going to sign a new contract at Arsenal. Sign a new contract at Real Madrid. Simple. What he's doing. Arsenal have been used.
Did you ever shoot your shot with Rihanna though? Did you ever do it?
I might have. Yeah, I might have. That's private business. I might have.
But the point is, we know that Arsenal have made a go at Vinicius Junior, so they've tried.
And maybe I tried, and it didn't work out.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for Arsenal, is it?
You make me cringe.
No, one league title in over 20 years. Never won the Champions League. Can't sit at the big table of the Champions League winning clubs like Villa, Nottingham Forest, Celtic. And you think you're going to go and sign Vinny Jr., the fan base that Vinny Jr.'s got in South America because he plays for Real Madrid.
It's not.
Rodri's doing everything he can probably to get out of Manchester City to go to Real Madrid. Haaland will go to Real Madrid at some point in his career.
It's not dead yet.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend. Headlines this morning: Mikel Arteta says the signing of Bruno Guimaraes will ignite something different in Arsenal and hinted the Gunners are not done with their summer transfer activity. Everton and Crystal Palace are in advanced talks over a swap deal between Brennan Johnson and Dwight McNeil. Here's what McNeil's former manager Sean Dyche makes of that move.
I mean, I'll be intrigued on whether it's a straight swap literally or whether there's money involved. I would imagine there's some money involved, probably towards, the Crystal Palace side of things, Everton giving them some extra money. I don't know. That's not to get involved with the players. I think they're both very good players. I'm bound to go on the side of Dwight because I gave him his debut and hopefully sort of helped him somewhat with his career. Still only 26, got sort of 250 games under his belt or something like that. So he's certainly, he knows the Premier League. He can play a number of different positions. Brennan's a different one. I think Brennan, maybe, I'm looking at Everton thinking with the Jack Grealish situation, now a different type, of course. Jack was a carrier of the ball and became a talisman almost for him, Brennan's more direct and he's got more direct pace, more direct runner.
And for more on the day's biggest stories, head over to talksport.com. I asked what Greener, the Postie, was going to be doing. He's responded. He said, Jeff, I've been offered the talkSPORT breakfast presenter role on Mondays and Tuesdays. Did they not tell you? He said maybe the P45 got delayed in the post, mate. And he's signed off Greeno, talkSPORT presenter. Brilliant, Greeno. You'll be getting your P45, pal.
Interesting, Jeff, just very quickly, what Sean Dyche was talking about there with Dwight McNeil and Brennan Johnson, possible swap deal there. When Dwight McNeil had the two boys up front at Burnley, do you remember? And because he's not the quickest as a wide player, but when he was able to just get a yard and whip it in the box, and he had a couple of big, strong, powerful centre forwards going in there after, it makes such a difference. He's probably not had that anywhere since then, since he's been playing.
He can deliver a ball.
He can deliver a really good ball into the box. He can.
Now, a certain club in the North East kicked off their season with a win at the weekend under new boss Lee Clark. I'm delighted to say joining us now to tell us all about it is the Hartlepool manager, Lee Clark. Good morning, Lee.
Morning, Lee.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Andy.
Hey, lovely to see you at the weekend, mate. I'll tell you what, I doubt we'll be involved in a more physical encounter all season long.
Yeah, we knew the game, what was going to be coming up to us, Jeff. Barrow just come down from the Football League, new manager, new players, very physical, very aggressive, very strong. We knew that, but my players matched that in abundance. And then obviously we had two bits of quality to score, two tremendous goals to win the game.
Yeah. You pleased, Lee, with what you're getting out of your boys so far?
Absolutely delighted, Andy. I heard you talking about pre-season last week on the show, and you were saying as a player, you've had pre-seasons that have gone perfect and started the season poorly and vice versa. And I was worried about that because our pre-season, I'd gone out and said that it was the best one I'd been involved in as a player, coach or manager. It was absolutely perfect. So you worry what the season's going to bring, but at the start, we couldn't ask for a harder game, both in quality and physicality, but the lads were terrific in every aspect. And to win your first game at home, keep a clean sheet, it ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, and obviously, during the pre-season, during the close season, we invested significantly in forwards, didn't we? And that's those, there wasn't that much between the two sides, was there, realistically, but two pieces of real quality from new men, and that must be delighted. You're getting what you're paying for.
Absolutely, Jeff. When we looked at the squad and what we wanted to do, we wanted to have an identity of playing on the front foot, going for every game, and having difference makers at the top end of the pitch. And we have that. We've got 4 top strikers who give us different solutions. We've got wide players who are a bit old-fashioned, who like to go past people and create chances. And as you said, they were the difference makers in a really tight and tough game on Saturday.
Yeah. Clarky, now don't get yourself in any trouble here, but come on, tell me about the ref at the weekend.
Have you ever seen anything like that, Lee? Because you've been around a while. I've been around longer. I've never seen anything like... I just explained to people who didn't hear earlier on. The fourth official at half-time puts his board up, 2 minutes added time, and within 15 seconds, the referee's blown his whistle. Players head down the tunnel, all the fans head to the bars... And what happens when we turn back? The players are back out there to play an extra minute 45.
That's right. That's spot on, Jeff. It was amazing. I was in my office with my staff just divulge in the first half, and then just wondering what we were going to be saying to the players at half time. And then I get a knock on the door to go and see the ref with Adam Murray, and he says we've got to go back on the pitch and play the remaining time. I even said to him, can you not just add it on in the second half? And obviously, I think he didn't want to do that. I don't think with the regulations it didn't look great on him, but he thought that was the best way about it. So there was a last minute and 45 were a bit crazy. I've never experienced. It was a half-empty stadium from being full and racked. As you see, everyone was having a pie and a pint, and then we're back on the pitch. So, it was a bit strange, Jeff, to say the least.
We almost considered that minute and 45 as well. There would have been all hell to pay. He didn't have his greatest afternoon when he was booking a player in the second half and he pulled his notebook out instead of the yellow card. I mean, I felt for him a tiny little bit, but just a tiny bit.
Listen, I would never want to be a referee. I would never want to be a fourth official. You know, they get penalties between those two dugouts, so poor guys. So fair play to them. He stood up, he fronted his mistake. If that had been me, as I said, I would have just added it on the second half and just went as if everything had gone smoothly. But he must have the regulations and all that he has to do that. So fair play to him for fronting.
Look, I mean, I know your focus is on Hartlepool League. Just a quick word about Newcastle. Newcastle fans, new manager in place. They'll be encouraged at least that Johan Wissa got a couple of goals against Valencia at the weekend.
Well, I went home and celebrated our result by watching the Valencia and Newcastle game on TV, Jeff. So I was happy. I'm delighted Wissa got the 2 goals. This could be him being rejuvenated. You know, we had a good, decent World Cup. If we can get the Wissa, that was it, Brentford. He's more than good enough for us. And the team look like they're playing with a lot of energy. Some good young signings. So let's look positively on it. Being a Newcastle fan as long as I have, me and my mates will keep saying we've seen a lot worse teams than this one. So let's not panic.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Good point.
Hey, Lee, thanks.
Just a quick one, Jeff.
Yeah?
Just a quick one, because I've been listening to the show this morning.
Yeah.
I've got a mate called Richie. He's a floor in Leah. On his van is Lino Richie. I lay anything but eggs.
Love it. Lino Richie, brilliant. Lee, thanks, mate. I'll see you at Aldershot on Saturday.
Thanks, Lee.
Cheers, Jeff. Cheers, Andy. Bye, guys.
Cheers, mate. I got a little confession to make as well about that, because of the weekend, I was doubling up as a match reporter, not just a fan there, because my boy runs a website, Robbie runs a website called The Monkey's Uncle.
Right.
Now, due to unforeseen circumstances, he couldn't be there for the opening game of the season. So I said, don't worry.
I'll do it.
I'll do it. And the first goal, I got the boy who crossed the ball for the first goal. I got it completely wrong. Completely wrong. It was Brooklyn Alunga, not Cameron John. So Brooklyn, I'm really sorry. I promise you, mate, I'm going to stick to the day job in future. I'm going to leave the reporting to the experts, because it's clearly not my forte.
It's very true that when you're thinking about and no doubt, what were you making a few notes as you?
Yeah.
You do making notes as you're watching it all, but it's very easy to think who knocked the ball down the line to the wide man for it to come in the box. That was a great, and then you can't think of it. And then all of a sudden the game's kicked off again, and you're up and running, and all of a sudden you're chasing your tail.
It was a brilliant cross in, by the way, and I didn't quite see it. But Cameron John's our left back. Brooklyn Alunga's playing on the left hand side of midfield, and I haven't quite seen who's put this brilliant ball into the box, but I did see Cameron John running away down the touchline in celebration. And I thought, well, it must have been him.
Yeah.
But he played a part in the move earlier on, and that's what he was celebrating. So my apologies, I cocked it up. Thanks to the Hartlepool United manager Lee Clark there. Up next, we'll be talking Rangers' nightmare start.
Barcelona are now leading the race to sign Rodri from Manchester City, notwithstanding the loss that would be to City in a new era under Enzo Maresca. What's the latest on that? And is it the case that Real Madrid have dropped the ball here? Because it seemed to be, reading reports, that Real Madrid were in the driving seat with this one.
Yeah, Rodri wanted Real Madrid earlier in the window, and Florentino Perez hadn't decided what kind of midfielder he was going for, which is why several names were linked, including Enzo Fernandez, and Real had to issue a statement saying we've had no contact with Enzo Fernandez. Jose Mourinho came in. Finally, they got the mandate from Perez to start negotiating financially, but Barca have basically hijacked this, although some sources say Barca were there even before the window opened, and it was Real that kind of steamrolled in. And ultimately, Rodri, for family reasons, wants to go to Spain, but we've got a fascinating scenario now. Man City want to keep. Pep Guardiola never used to stand in players' ways, especially senior ones that had been long-serving and loyal to the club. But Enzo Maresca's new, and of course, if it's his say, he'll go to his board and say, keep him. If he doesn't renew, we'll let him leave on a free transfer in 2027. And now Barca are going to accelerate and bid, and they have full player buy-in. So Rodri wants Barcelona over Real Madrid, and I think there's a strong chance that this one happens. Man City are going to add another midfielder. Ayoub Boadi, advanced talks. They've got other targets as well. Elliot Anderson has already come in. And in essence, it's whether City say Rodri deserves this move and follow that Pep Guardiola approach, or if they double down and say Enzo Maresca doesn't want him to leave, so we're going to make it really difficult.
Dear Kitmen, we see you, we appreciate your work. While some fans reckon it's just hanging up shirts in dressing rooms, we know it's so much more. A football team's kit is its identity, its uniform, what sets it out from the rest. But it doesn't clean itself. That's not just the shirts, it's the shorts, the socks, the training gear, the boots, the other bits we sort out behind closed doors. Who's the one digging around in that smelly, stinky laundry basket at full time? Yeah, it's the Kitman. They have a lot to work on in a week, from laundry, fixing damaged kit, repairing holes, cleaning boots. Then they pack the van and take everything they need off to the stadium, ready for game day. They don't get a lot of help when they get in the ground too. Kitmen are the ones unloading a full squad's worth of boots, kit, medical bags, and all the bits the players and coaches will need between the start of the day and switching off the floodlights at the end of the day. First thing they do is organise each player's kit. Make it easily accessible in order to avoid any dramas on match day. Once everything's in the right place, it's into the dressing room, lay everything out, put players' nameplates on the right locker, all the things you don't even think about on a match day. Once the players arrive, if anything needs doing, they call the kitman. In the meantime, it's on the kitman to help set up for the warm-up. The coaches don't always have time to lay out all the cones and put the balls in those weird triangle piles you see. As the warm-up is underway, the kitman then becomes a glorified ball boy, chasing stray shots and passes, making sure they aren't lost in the crowds. They eventually do the tidying up too, getting everything off the pitch before kick-off and assist the ground staff with any last-minute things they may need. After that, it's last call for the players. Then, at kick-off, they can breathe a sigh of relief for a few minutes, sit back and watch the game, enjoy the fruits of their labour. At half-time, check everyone's okay and everything's as it should be, and then wait for full time. Once the final whistle's gone, it's time to pack everything down, get the stuff that needs to be washed in the laundry, pack up the van, back to the training ground, and ready to do it again next week. Of course, each club differs, and different staff members will have different responsibilities, but we pay tribute to all of those who do it, whether it's the glitz and glamour of the Premier League or a cold Tuesday night in Stoke.
A morning, 6 minutes past 8, Monday, August the 10th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, Andy Townsend and Arnold Clark's Deal Drop. Get the new car feeling without the new car price. Discover some of their biggest savings and find your next car today. Christian says, Jeff, there's a reptile shop in Sheffield called Snakes and Adders, which is pretty good as well. Now, it's not exactly been the start to life at Ibrox that Derek McInnes would have been hoping for.
You're simply the best.
With Derek McInnes in the Rangers dugout, it is real again. We've got somebody who understands Scottish football.
For me, I want to enjoy being a Rangers manager, and I can only do that by winning. And the players can only really enjoy being here by winning games.
I mean, defensively, all over the place. The big centre-half looked all over the place. You would hope you can get through it. Certainly concerning defensively, mate.
Absolutely disgusting in the Dundee United game. First of all, Derek, unfortunately, I don't know if Derek is Russell Martin in disguise.
When you bring in that amount of players at one time, people think it's going to work, and all of a sudden it doesn't work.
Well, the league's over, isn't it? Rangers have dropped points, so it's all over. You know, they may as well pack up and go home.
9 days, 3 games, 0 victories, 5 goals conceded. Rangers yet to get going really under Derek McInnes. After seeing his side lose at home to Hibs yesterday, he spoke to Rangers TV.
We're kicking ourselves because we've not made more of the opportunities, but the intent was there to win the game, and it's a real blow that we haven't managed to even get something for the game that I thought we were a better team in, and nobody will tell me any different. You know, we weren't great. And we're trying to manage players' fitness. We're trying to get certain players up to the same level as everybody else. We're trying to manage, obviously, with the game last Thursday, we're trying to make sure we were as fresh as we could be the day as well. So these early parts of the season, when you're trying to get full fitness for players, it's important you utilise your squad. And it's still important that we get as strong a window as we can. And I know the club are working hard to get the right kind of reinforcements in that will help us in the campaign. So it's been a rotten start for us. We can't pretend that. I share the frustration of the fans because they've had 15 years of frustration here, and it builds up quite quickly. But it's not been the start we wanted, but we're still determined to give them the outcome in the end that they want, and we're determined to get it right for them.
Let's get more on Rangers' poor start to life under Derek McInnes. We're joined now by their former midfielder, Charlie Adam. Morning, Charlie.
Charlie, morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Andy. Okay.
Good pal.
Look, I tell you what, Charlie, here's some of the fans already. Are you Russell Martin in disguise? You don't get much breathing space for your manager of Rangers, do you?
No, that's why when you're in a top club, that's the pressures that come with it. But I just think Derek's been open and honest in terms of how he feels and what he's seeing. Yeah, they've not played well, but it does take time, and you're not going to wave a magic wand and it's going to happen. But ultimately, when you are the Rangers manager, the pressure does come quickly, and they need to turn round that European game in midweek. And then look to the next game, and that's a League Cup game, and then try and move on from that. But you just got to take each game as it comes. It's been a poor start, disappointing, but let's say a long way to go.
Yeah, the winning goal, Charlie, was a soft goal, wasn't it? The way it sort of seemed to crawl into the corner. You're looking at your goalie thinking surely he could have got something on that 2 or 3 times as well. I thought they had an opportunity to recover and maybe sort that out, but it hurts when you're conceding goals so late in games like that.
Yeah, again, Andy, I think it's more of a structural thing that, when you score so late and you've got that opportunity, don't lose the game. Especially at home, don't lose the game. A point, is not good enough, but it gives you a stepping stone to look forward to the next game. But ultimately, when you lose the game and the way they lost the game, it's the deflation and the feel around the stadium, around the players, the connection between players and supporters is very difficult. And, all of a sudden, when you get a late equaliser, these supporters possibly are going away, frustrated. But again, we've not lost the game, and we can build on that for a European night and Thursday night, and we can bring an atmosphere and energy to the stadium. So, the way they lost the goal will be hugely disappointing. But on the other hand, for David, he'll be absolutely delighted with going to Ibrox again and getting the result.
When you look at that Rangers side, Charlie, at the weekend, do you think maybe they just lack a leader out on the park?
Ultimately, there's leaders, and by the way, you don't have to be a captain to be a leader. There's different ways of leading within the group, and that's down to your performances and taking control of the game. Again, everybody captains teams differently, from motivational captains to people that do the talking on the pitch. I played with one of the best ever that showed on the pitch why he was one of the world class players in Steven Gerrard. But it wasn't a massive shouter in the dressing room. He done his talking on the pitch. He led by example on the pitch, but the training pitch, standards round the place. So, yeah, Derek's signings this summer have been around sort of people that have understand the football club, understand Scottish football, but also as well have played at big clubs and understand the pressure. So, no, I just think sometimes it takes time to get the real rhythm of the players. And Derek said that. He says it's taking time for these players to get up to speed to what he wants and what the supporters want to see. So it'll take time, and they just got to keep working hard this week on the training pitch, looking at the next game in Europe on Thursday, and then going after that League Cup game the following weekend.
Yeah, losing Youssef Chamiti was a blow, obviously, Charlie. So big onus now on Lawrence Shankland.
Yeah, Chamiti's, was one I sort of clambered for last year, and I felt he would come good. Just seeing that, I worked 5 months at Everton with him, and I knew the attributes he had, I thought would suit him playing as that sort of lone number 9 for Rangers. Good power, good speed at the top end of the pitch. But now the pressure on Shankland, and he's had that pressure before. He scored 16 plus goals in the league last year for Hearts, and he's managed to carry that sort of can for a couple of years. So he'll have to do that now. But again, how serious the injury is will depend the next few days for Youssef, and what sort of market range they're looking for as well. Obviously, there was a bid supposedly from a Turkish team yesterday or over the weekend for Chamiti. And again, Rangers will know that they've got good value in him if that's something that they look to do. But if it is a long-term injury or even a sort of 3 or 4 month injury, they might look to try and replace that as quick as they can, because they'll need somebody else to play up there with Shankland.
Quick word on Liverpool, Charlie. If you're would you be concerned about the number of goals they're conceding at the moment, or is it not relevant because it's pre-season?
I was there yesterday, Jeff, and for 45 minutes they were excellent. First 45 minutes they were a bit. Again, that was with mostly senior players. Kumas played, and Dueki, the centre back, played, who was, by the way, was top player, 18 years of age, coming from Osta Vienna. But with the senior players in there, you can see the difference between that and the team that come on in the 60th minute, when a lot of younger players come on, and sort of that's when the goals start to come in. But for 45 minutes, very good, a lot of good things, real man-for-man, aggressive pressing, something different we've seen last year from Arne Slot's team. So a lot of things to work on for Liverpool. Again, players coming back from World Cup. Lexi McAllister only comes back today. And then ultimately, I still think they need strength and depth, and they'll need to bring in at least 3 or 4 signings in before the sort of window closes, and the Premier League's only 2 weeks away now.
Yeah. Charlie, just quickly, Florian Wirtz, how did he look yesterday?
Yeah, looked really good, Andy. Really sharp. Played as a sort of number 10, just off Isak, who again, he looked like he'd had a good few weeks training as well, which was really good. But Wirtz was really good in that sort of half spaces. There's a debate about was it his goal or Isak's goal. Every striker, especially McCoy, Steve, would have been claiming the goal. So if you could see it back, it was. But no, I think he was really good for that sort of 45 minutes. Again, that 15 minutes after half time, that you could see they sort of started to run out of gas a little bit, because they've probably not trained as much yet as the other lads coming back from the World Cup. But I think he'll have a big season for Liverpool next year, and he's a special talent. We know that from Leverkusen. It's just now, can he go and replicate that in the Premier League?
Charlie, thanks for your time, mate.
Great stuff, Charlie.
Cheers, guys.
Former Rangers and Liverpool midfielder Charlie Adams.
He's got to play. He's got to do more, Jeff, this year, hasn't he?
Such a fringe player last season. He's flitted in and out of games without ever dominate. I don't think he dominated a single game last season.
I didn't see that. But listen, if they can get Isak up to speed, and good to see him amongst the goals, and if Wirtz can really start raising his levels, then that will give him such a lift at the top of the field.
Yeah. But Rangers fans, look, give us a ring, 03717 2233 4. You heard Charlie Adam there saying, really, it's just going to take time. Are you worried for the season? Is it too early to panic? Let us know.
I anticipate Arsenal to absolutely go again and just be as good as they've been this season.
Mm.
The key element for me on the title this year is Rodri.
Mm.
If Rodri's a Manchester City player throughout the whole course of the season, Manchester City will win the league.
That's a shout and off, that is, isn't it?
Do
Wow.
you disagree? If Manchester City lose Rodri and he goes to Real Madrid, they will not win the league.
I know what you're saying, but I look at it as well from because Anderson's coming, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
He's not Rodri.
I know he's not Rodri.
But he'll benefit from playing alongside him.
Yeah, that would happen.
But if you leave him on his own in there, I think you've got carnage.
Mm. I do know what you're saying, but I think there's more of a factor that Maresca might not be up for it either. You don't know yet.
I think he's up for it.
You reckon he's up for it?
I think he's up for it.
We'll see.
He knows that club. He's been at that club. He understands how that club
You're
works.
talking like a real Manchester City supporter.
He went to Chelsea. He did.
Are you Blackburn? You're a Blackburn fan, didn't you?
Yeah, we'll talk,
Hold on a minute.
we'll talk about their dismal summer in a minute.
What about the other teams?
Why are you doing this? Why are you deflecting?
Well, I'm just trying to say.
All I was doing was talking about the Premier League title race. That's all I was saying. And I was just saying that the big impact, the key piece of information for me is Rodri being a Man City player throughout the whole course of the season. And if he is, Manchester City will win the league.
Cool, but that's a shout.
Do you not think so?
So where was he last season?
Getting back from his ACL, mate. Do you not think so?
No, listen, mate.
So you're tipping Arsenal. You think so? You believe in what I said at the start of the show, that you believe that we're entering a dynasty time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hang my hat on it.
Wouldn't it be nice if we were older, then we wouldn't have to wait
That's a great song.
Good song. Brilliant song, isn't it?
Yeah. The genius of the Beach Boys. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend. Brighton fans, are you ready to relive the magic of another European night at the Amex? Tickets are on sale for Brighton's Conference League playoff second leg. Now, look, I meant to say here, it's either Cluj of Romania or Tromsø from Norway, but I'll tell you, it's Tromsø from Norway.
Is it?
Because they won the first leg 5-0 away from home.
Every chance.
So I think there's every chance. It's Tromsø of Norway they'll be playing. It won't be easy, by the way, either.
No.
Adult tickets from just 18 quid. Head to brightonandhovealbion.com for tickets and full details. And if you can't make it, we'll bring you live commentary right here on talkSPORT.
Jeff, that is a competition Brighton should be looking to win, right? That's a competition. I think the one thing with Brighton, and we know how brilliant the club is run and how financially sound it is and how clever they are, the way that they acquire their staff and acquire their managers, who all seem to do a good job there. But they need to win something now.
Yeah.
And they need to go and get something, because I think they're more than capable of doing that. So I'm sure they will throw themselves at this competition and really go about it with an intent to go all the way and get a trophy in the cabinet.
Yeah. Well, their first task though is to get through this knockout round. So they've got to get through this game against Tromsø, and it won't be easy. It will not be easy, but they should have the quality, and then they should have the quality to go a very long way, as you rightly say, Andy. Right, let's get the latest odds now with Coral and John Hill.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
John, morning. How you doing?
Morning, John.
Good morning, Jeff. Andy. Yeah, really good. Thank you, guys. Fortunately, beaten at the weekend by Bradford in the EFL Cup for Rochdale, so we're out of that competition, sadly. But obviously, the season starts fully this weekend, doesn't it, for us, the first league game? So very much looking forward to that, guys.
Yeah, it starts for you. I mean, we're up and running, mate. We're up and running already.
Well done.
So.
Absolutely, you are.
Yeah, almost a full house. And if you want to add, just put the icing on the cake, Carlisle, who are favourites for the National League, lost at home to newly promoted Worthing. Goodness
I know. And I tell you what, fair play to those fans who've made that trip from Worthing. The hell of a trip, isn't it, all the way up there? So
nearly 300 of them.
Guys.
Nearly 300 of them. And by the way,
play to every one of them.
Worthing, they had a nightmare journey because they got up on the Friday.
Yeah.
And like me, they got stuck in an absolute carnage on the M40. They'd planned to train that day. They couldn't train. It took them so long to get from Worthing to Carlisle. So it's an amazing result. Just one tiny little National League story before we move on as well. Abdul Malik. Boreham would have turned down a bid of £1 million for him. Not too shabby for a National League player. Interestingly, though, they started him on the bench at the weekend against Tamworth, and they've just taken a Fulham winger on loan.
With the cotton wool duly applied. Wrapping him up,
absolutely.
I am pretty sure that Abdul Malik, he can certainly play at a high level. There's no question in my mind at all. I think he'll be on his way very shortly. Indeed. Look, where should we start? Well, you mentioned the EFL back this weekend. What about the odds for the Championship? Is it West Ham clear favourites?
They are clear favourites, yeah. They're 7-4 favourites, but you've got to look, I guess, first and foremost at the three clubs that came down. So that's West Ham 7-4, Wolves 5-1, and then Burnley. I think this is big odds. 12-1 Burnley. Obviously, they're a bit of a yo-yo club, aren't they, Andy?
Yeah.
They come down, they go up, but they know the Championship, and I think Burnley at 12-1 are a decent price. Obviously, Middlesbrough just missed out last season. They're 8-1, and Southampton starting on -4 points. But they're up there in the betting at 12-1.
John, what about Norwich? Because they had that great run towards the back end of last season, just coming up a little bit short outside the playoffs. What about them?
Yeah, they're just next in that list. They're 16-1 Norwich. We've got a Norwich fan in the office, and he's the most pessimistic football fan you can imagine. They could win 5-0 on a Saturday. You'll go in on a Monday morning, and he'll say it should have been 6-0. So I only hear bad things about Norwich, but they're clearly, going to be up there. And obviously, the playoff system's changed this season, so an extra place there for the playoffs. So sure they'll be knocking on the door, Andy.
Well, got off to a flyer at the weekend in the Carabao Cup, didn't they? I think Burnley are a big price because they haven't got Scott Parker there anymore. They got the former Genk boss, Nicky Hayen, who's obviously not managed in this country before. Briefly, John, who are favourites for League One and League Two?
Well, League One's a fascinating league this year. It really is, Jeff. You've got Leicester in there, 9-4. Some of their players still on Premier League wages, aren't they, at Leicester? So they've got the potential to really run away with this league like Birmingham did. But it's never easy, is it, sometimes when these teams drop down? You've got Sheffield Wednesday in there at 6-1. Luton, I think, a good play at 7-1. Plymouth, 12-1. Obviously, Plymouth in action tonight in the Devon Derby. And Huddersfield, 14-1. And then in League Two, the big gamble of the summer, Jeff, Salford City, 4-1 favourites to win this league. I think they were 10-1 when we opened betting for this league. All the money's come from Salford, spent big in the summer. Will they get it right finally this year? We'll find out at the end of the season, but they are clear favourites now at 4-1.
Yeah, made some good signings during the course of the summer, including an old mate of mine, Luke Molyneux's gone there from Doncaster Rovers. What about the SPL betting at the moment then? Rangers already 5 points behind Celtic, John.
I know, incredible, really. Rangers have doubled in price. They were 5-4 when we first discussed this market. Now 5-2, incredible after 3 games. Celtic 4-11 favourites. Hearts 12-1. So will they run away with it, Celtic? Well, they've got work to do. The others haven't they in this league?
Just one final one for you, John. Community Shield. at the weekend then. Well, how do they bet in that?
Yeah, it's fascinating, really, because it's almost a difficult game to price up, really, because is it a glorified friendly, is it not? We've made Arsenal favourites, 6-4 favourites in the 90-minute betting. City 13-8, the draw 5-2, and then very little in it in the to lift the trophy market. Arsenal 4-5, City 10-11. So we're effectively saying it's a coin toss. I guess the P news will be key on Sunday afternoon. But I think it was Jose Mourinho always used to claim this as a trophy, didn't he? Get one on the board early doors and give the fans something to cheer about. So yeah, looking forward to that Sunday. The sun should be shining on Wembley, no doubt. Or is it at Wembley?
It's Cardiff.
Cardiff, isn't it? So it may well be shining at Wembley, but they won't be playing at Wembley. They'll be playing at Cardiff.
Andy, how do the players approach it? I mean, do they think this is the first piece of silverware of the season?
I think it's the first kind of meaningful game of the season. I always look upon that one. I do. I don't take too much out of whatever's happening pre-season, wherever it's happening around the world. But that particular game, Jeff, I think it's I get why Jose and others would class it as a trophy. I mean, I personally don't class it as a trophy in that respect. But I get why he would want to get the boys going up there, lifting that in front of their fans. It just gets you off to a great start a week before the season.
John, good luck to Russia at the weekend.
Hello, John.
Cheers, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, mate. That was a look at the latest odds with Coral 18+, gambleaware.org.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Up next, Andy will tell us his 3 things that Chelsea must do to finish in the top 4 this season.
Look at Real Madrid. Go and look at this is the point that I think Gabby was making this morning. I know that he was making it regarding trophies and what have you, but look at the brand value.
180 million.
There you go. Right, that's how big that football club is.
Right, that's a lot.
That's how big that is as a worldwide entity. 180 million, and you're talking about him coming to a club that has 32 million followers on Instagram. Again, these are very basic metrics. Very basic metrics. But Vinicius Junior is in a completely different stratosphere. All this talk about him coming to Arsenal throughout the whole course of the summer has just been manipulation from an agent trying to get the dude a few more quid. That's what it is. He was never in a million years going to be an Arsenal player this summer. That's what it is. It's just manipulating the market. Like, see if I can get some more money for my guy. Yeah. Why would he come to Arsenal?
I said that was the agent talk. Just using Arsenal as a
leverage.
A tool.
Yeah. Arsenal are interested. Oh, right, wicked. Brilliant. Arsenal, champions of England. Right, well, let's use them. Yeah. Let's use them. Go back to the table with the Real Madrid lads. Yeah, he's coming out of contract. You know what I mean? He needs a few more zeros on this contract. Yeah. Okay. We're going to sign Yandy Mande. Let's put some pressure on you. No, don't worry about that. Vinny Jr. ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Is it?
Come on. You can't leave. I just don't see leaving Real Madrid as a... Unless, you don't leave Real Madrid unless Real Madrid leaves you.
That's it.
That's it, mate.
Unless you come to the end of your time on your way, son.
Can't have a supermodel girlfriend and you leaving your supermodel girlfriend.
She leaves you.
For the dinner lady. Like, you know what I mean?
The dinner lady! You can't call Arsenal a dinner lady.
Oh, it's love, innit? It's love.
Would you give up the chance to play for your country to become a global star of your sport and earn huge money doing it? Well, that is the choice now facing rugby players because of the proposed new R360 League. Led by 2003 Rugby World Cup winner Mike Tindall and backed by major investors, R360 wants to radically change rugby union. Its goal, replace traditional clubs with franchises, inject serious cash and add a bit of razzmatazz. In their words, it's about making rugby more watchable, accessible and entertaining. Rugby union is Under real pressure right now. Domestically, many top-tier clubs are financially unstable. R360 claims removing clubs' biggest costs, i.e. star players' salaries, would make the sport more sustainable. Their solution is a franchise-based league featuring top players with tournaments hosted in a number of global cities. Each city would stage a short 3-month season with concerts and fan engagement events designed to attract new audiences. While no players are officially confirmed, reports suggest around 200 have signed pre-contracts, which are worth up to 750 grand. But rugby's authorities have drawn a hard line. A number of national unions say any player who joins R360 will be banned from Test rugby. Some may be against R360, but we know others are being swayed by the cash. Will everything work itself out? Or after the European Super League and Live Golf, have we got sport's next big scandal on our hands?
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. We're with Arnold Clark. It's the perfect time to upgrade your car. Get 2 years free servicing when you buy a used car in the upgrade event. Check it out online. Chelsea wrapped up their pre-season tour of the chaotic draw in Malaysia last night. It was very much a second string. Well, it might not even have been a second-string Chelsea side, to be absolutely honest. They brought in, obviously, during the course of the summer, a lot of players. Headlines from Danny Welbeck and Jordan Henderson recently. But prior to that, Morgan Rogers arrived at the club for big money. Maxime Lacroix has been brought in. And then we've got the likes of Valentin Barco and Giovanni Quenda as well. There's been a lot of movement through the indoor in particular. I suspect some more will be happening through the outdoor very shortly down at the bridge. Former Chelsea midfielder and England manager Glenn Hoddle was optimistic about Chelsea's prospects heading into the new season.
He wasn't the right man to go to Real Madrid. They were never going to go in and play like he wanted them to play. He had them youngsters. If he said jump off jump into that river, they would do it for him. And they played a system that was powerful. It was pressing. It was all them things with a bit of experience in there as well. It was never going to happen. That was never going to happen at Real Madrid. And he was just the wrong person to go in there. That's a different animal, Real Madrid. But I think now, looking in at Chelsea, who he's bought, and he's gone for experience as well with Henderson and obviously Welbeck coming in, that I think is two shrewd moves. People might raise their eyebrows and go, oh, but that's what the manager wants. He wants that a little bit of experience, and it's what Chelsea need as well. So, yeah, I would expect them going for the top six.
Yeah, well, I think that's the minimum requirement, isn't it? To top six with the
top six, absolute minimum. Yeah. Absolute minimum. They will feel like they want to attack the top four without European football, and that they can dedicate their focus absolutely to that. And I see that. But I think Glenn, makes some very valid points. I think he will be able to shape and maybe mould this Chelsea squad a lot easier than perhaps he's trying to shift one or two around at Real Madrid.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the demands, wasn't he, when he came in, that he wasn't just going to be coach, he was manager. Yeah. So, in other words, what he says goes, or he should do it.
I agree. And I think this is, I think one of the things for Xabi Alonso, Jeff, don't get too coachy, matey, friendly with everybody in the camp. You don't always want to have all your players saying, oh yeah, he's such a great bloke, he's this and he's that. I think good coaches, stroke managers, and he wants to be called a manager. I think they keep their distance and they keep everyone guessing a little bit as to what he's really thinking and what he's saying.
Adam, who's a Portuguese Brentford fan, says, please, please, please. Can't deal with the whole season of this. Heard it so many times already. Chelsea's Quenda is pronounced Kenda, not Quenda.
Right.
Thanks, Adam. I honestly, I'll be surprised we're mentioning him a great deal this season.
Might
because
not.
I think he's going to be
Don't know.
one for the future.
Yeah, he probably will be.
Brutally honest. But thank you anyway, Adam. I appreciate that. So, Andy.
Yeah.
You pinpointed three things that Chelsea you feel must do to finish not top 6 but top 4.
Yeah,
So let's run through them.
If they want to go top 4, I mentioned I think it's very important that clear message that the coach gives to his players, the manager gives to his players, is heard loud and clear. So again, I put one of those things down. He as a coach, he as a manager, Xabi Alonso, just keep your distance, be the man, be that ruthless coach manager when you need to be, rather than wanting to be everybody's mate inside the door in the first 12 months. I think he's shown that he can win. He can manage teams to the very, very top. I think he's got to do that. Cole Palmer has got to find that edge again in his game. He's so important, and he was so good for Chelsea when he first arrived, and now we haven't seen that. It feels like for a little while. You've got Morgan Rogers and Cole Palmer. Getting those two in the team in the right areas, I think you've got everything you'd want there. Morgan Rogers carrying the ball from halfway line to the edge of the 18-yard box is as good as anything in the Premier League. In fact, he's as good as anything around Europe. If they get him up and running and get him playing in the right areas and playing confidently, he's going to show everybody he's worth 100 million quid. Cole Palmer, where's he going to play him, Jeff? 3? Is it going to be a back 3, a midfield 4 with 2 in front of that, and maybe João Pedro up the top or Danny Welbeck? There's lots of permutations on how he can play. But again, I think don't overcomplicate it. Don't chop and change too much in those first few weeks. I think get something with a bit of rhythm behind it and win some matches. Forget about the project and the philosophy. Get some wins under your belt as a coach walking through the door. It's never a bad idea to get a bit of confidence and get a bit of belief back amongst the fans that you can go the distance. But so a regular starting 11, something consistent, particularly those defenders.
It's hard to have a regular starting 11 when you've got such an embarrassment of riches.
But you don't have to keep chopping and changing. You don't have to. Staff, members of your staff will convince you need to change. Physios will turn around and tell you that, so-and-so's levels aren't quite there. Don't overdo it with him. Don't overdo it with that. Don't listen to all of them guys all the time. Be your own man as a coach. The best coaches, the Mourinhos, the Wengers, the Fergusons, those guys, they can be ruthless with their team when they need it to be. And I think Xabi Alonso also needs to show that he can be that as well with this group of players. Don't be afraid to roll out the same team 2 or 3 weeks on the bounce. If it's playing well, players are looking really good and confident, then expand on that. Let it go and see where it takes you. Don't have to keep chopping and changing for the sake of it, Jeff.
Yeah, and when obviously they look on the front foot. You look at Rodgers and Cole Palmer and João Pedro and Neto and Esteban, Danny Welbeck.
Correct.
So many talented players there. Defensively, have they done enough? They brought in Maxime Lacroix from Crystal Palace. I think good signing.
Good signing.
But is that sufficient?
No, I think they still need more there. I agree with you. Losing Cucurella, we spoke about him earlier. I think Mark Cucurella, the biggest wind-up to watch as a player when you're playing against him. He really is. But I thought he was a very, very, very capable defender. Very good one-on-ones and good on the ball. So they've lost that. They're going to miss that. Who's going to pick that up down that left side or as a left wing back? I don't know. Is that they've on that side naturally? They've got Hato and people like that. But there's still question marks in that sort of area. I think they could still do with doing a little bit of business in along that back line.
Would Jed Spence fit the bill?
Jed Spence, I honestly think Jed I don't know what he would cost, Jeff. This is it. Because of the World Cup in the summer, because how well he did, has that inflated his price tag sort of unreasonably. I genuinely wouldn't have a clue. I would have thought if Cucurella is going to Real Madrid for, what was it, 65 or 66 million pounds, I would have thought Jed Spence at 40, something around that sort of figure, give or take, would be a decent acquisition. I do. And I think Chelsea, it wouldn't do them any harm to have someone who's still looking to improve as a player, who's all ears, wants to get better, and is now showing what he's capable of. I think that wouldn't be a bad piece of business.
What do you feel about the goalkeeper?
The goalie again. I think Robert Sanchez is one of those goalies. Monday to Friday, he must be unbelievable. He must be tipping them out, taking them out the top corner, plucking them out from all angles. He must be brilliant because clearly everybody at the club thinks there's a proper goalie there, whereas most of us from the outside, match days, you're always waiting for a rick to appear from somewhere, or a momentary or a lapse in concentration, something careless with the ball at his feet. You're just waiting for him to scupper all the good work that clearly he can do. So I would have thought if Chelsea want to win the league, and of course they will want to compete for the title again at some point, they're going to have to trade up in that respect. But maybe Xabi Alonso, they've looked at that, the club, they haven't seen anything at the moment that they really fancy. So they're going to continue to go with Robert Sanchez. Look, he's got all the profile you need to be a top goalkeeper, but it's those momentary lapses of concentration, bit of carelessness in his game that tends to have everybody talking about that rather than about a lot of the good saves, and he does make them. Of course he does. A lot of the good work he does.
Let's put you on the spot. As things stand right now, and of course things will change inevitably over the coming weeks, where do you see Chelsea finishing?
Fifth.
Okay.
I see him fifth, somewhere around there.
Okay.
At whose expense, Jeff? Don't know. But I see them in and around that sort of position. I do think not having the European football is significant, and it gives Xabi Alonso a chance to do some of those things that I mentioned about trying to find that consistent thread running through the team a bit. What do you? You're not sure?
No, I could see them finishing top three.
Really?
Yeah, really could. And partly because I think one or two of the other sides will have some shortcomings this season.
Right.
And I look, it's an exciting prospect. I mean, Cole Palmer, Morgan Rogers, João Pedro, Danny Welbeck. Yeah, I mean, it's a really exciting prospect. So I think Chelsea will entertain this season. That is for sure. I think we'll see a Xabi Alonso brand of football that we will enjoy. But I just want to mention one quick line about a lower league side. Let's find it again now. Bradley says, morning, Jeff and Andy. Can we get a shout out for the 1,000 Crawley Town fans who travelled to Watford on Saturday to see League Two Crawley take on Watford and take them to the 99th minute only to lose to a great strike. But what an atmosphere. Thank you, Brad. Yeah. Great.
Jeff, am I the only one that's fed up with like 10, 12 minutes of added time on at the end of a game? Do we honestly think the game is better for apparently hanging on, the referee stopping and adding all of this time? And when I last season we were seeing goals going in the 103rd minute and all this sort of stuff. I'm thinking it's got ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be less of that this season because all the intent appears to be to move the game along. So in other words, when somebody's been, we saw it at Middlesbrough the other night, Will Lancashire, who scored a goal, and he's got it when he's being substituted. He's got to get off within 10 seconds. He was busy taking the accolades from the crowd and things, and understandably because he scored a smashing goal on his home debut. And unfortunately, from his perspective, didn't get off in time, so the substitute wasn't allowed on for another minute. So they're trying to speed the game up. So I'm thinking we'll see less.
I hope so.
Of that. But
I hope so. Look, I get 4 and 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Yeah, when it starts going up, every now and again, when you've seen plus 10, plus 11 minutes, it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy. It's such an added extension to the game, and it makes it very difficult for the coaches and the managers to actually manage those last periods of the game.
Still to come on breakfast.
Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Spend £100 or more at any Travis Perkins Hire or Benchmarks branch as a trade account holder, and you could win a brand new Ford Ranger. T's and C's apply.
Former Rangers midfielder Andy Halliday will be with us just after 9 to look at their disastrous start to the season. Liverpool fans, let's hear from you. Are you concerned ahead of the new season? Is the title challenge off the cards? 03717 223344. That's our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Spend £100 or more with a Travis Perkins trade account and you could win a brand new Ford Ranger. T's and C's apply.
Chris, what about Man U? I fancy United have a much better season. I think Michael deserves this job, and I do think they're going to be up there. I think they're going to push. I think they're going to be strong.
No, I do. I think I'm so happy to see Carragher's just thriving. I think, obviously, having played with him, you know what kind of character he is. He's that composed and he's intelligent, and he's obviously bringing that into one of the biggest jobs in world football. And I think the run they obviously had at the end of last season, obviously in 2026, I think they were like #1 in points taken. So for him to be able to have a full pre-season, bring in whoever he likes in terms of players and just have that belief, I think there's no one better kind of, steering that ship really. And no, I'm excited to see what the season brings for them.
I think it's going to be an interesting season, Chris, all round, because so many new managers. You don't know what to expect. Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs have spent big money as well. Whether they can try and get into that top four, and obviously the only one with a little bit of stability is probably Arsenal. But it's always hard to retain that title, isn't it?
100%. I think everyone's going to be hungrier than ever, and it is hard to kind of maintain that. You're now the golden ones that everyone wants to compete and to fight against. So I'm happy for United to be able to have that consistency from last season, because like you say, a lot of players are going to be coming, a lot of managerial changes. So I think United's got the perfect start at the minute, and hopefully hit the ground running.
Morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. It's the perfect time to upgrade your car, get 2 years free servicing. When you buy a used car in the upgrade event, check it out online. I'm Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend is with me. Andy mentioned the amount of time that was added on at the end of games just a moment or two ago. Peter says football should look at the way rugby does it. Stop the clock. Time wasting stops. No need for any added time at the end of the game. Simple. says Pete. Absolutely. And the boss says, boss is Andy from Ellesmere Port. He says VAR is the time waster. VAR was supposed to be clear and precise. If we can't see it in 30 seconds or less, it's not clear and precise. So leave it with the on-pitch decision. That'll stop these silly additions. He's right, though, as well, Andy. Yeah, I mean, those VAR checks can still take 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Some of them can. Yeah. Some of them. I mean, look, when those calls are particularly tight, or there's two potential incidents in the build-up to a goal that have got to be cleared and have got to be looked at, it does take, unfortunately, it's going to take a while, but there's some good points there, particularly, Jeff, the stopping of the clock just seems so much like common sense. Yeah. Surely, at whatever level we're operating at now, a clock in the ground and someone in control of it and stopping it isn't beyond the wit of man, is it?
No, you would have thought not. Headlines this Monday morning, Liverpool boss Andoni Iraola admitted his side struggled to maintain their levels after a 3-2 defeat to Monaco at Anfield. Hull have signed midfielder Elliot Stroud from Mjolby for a reported £2.5 million. Mjolby lost again at the weekend. Following his move from Newcastle, Bruno Guimaraes was unveiled at the Emirates before the Gunners' pre-season defeat to Borussia Dortmund. Former Premier League boss Sean Dyche believes his signing can take Arteta's side to another level.
That's a signing that your dressing room goes, oh, hello. You know, they now sit there going, oh, right, a real one's coming in, not just a young kid or maybe a development style, future player, a real player. And they go, right, okay. So it's almost, for me anyway, I can only imagine if you're going to sit there, if I'm the manager, I go, right, we've won this. I'm not just sitting there because we're 1-1. I want to go again. Yeah. And it's a brilliant opportunity, I think, for Arsenal this year. I really do, mate, because the other superpower clubs all changed their managers. Some very good managers, but they've got to blend the team, get it ready, get it going, get the new philosophy, get the ethos, get the culture set. He's already got all that. So by adding statement signings like that, I just think it adds to the power of your group because everyone thinks, right, we need to go again. We need to up ourselves again.
And for more of those stories, head over to talksport.com. Now let's turn our attention to transfers and bring in talkSPORT senior football correspondent Ben Jacobs. Morning, Ben.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, Ben.
Let's start with Hendrick, shall we, Ben? It says here Aston Villa are exploring a loan move for Real Madrid star Hendrick. I would argue he's not a star at Real Madrid, but hey, that's another issue. Would it be a loan deal then for Hendrick?
Yeah, it appears a loan only. So one of the complications for some of the interested clubs, and a lot of elite teams are interested in Hendrick. Liverpool, for example, have taken a look, but they want something with permanence. And at the moment, both player and Real Madrid only want a loan, and that opens it up to a different kind of club. Aston Villa are alert to the opportunity and are prepared to do these kind of deals, as they've shown in the past. AS Roma have made an inquiry as well. So this at the moment is about minutes rather than the player leaving Real Madrid, and that's why it's only temporary.
Yeah. João Paulinho, again, a player with good Premier League experience, Ben. Is there anything in Aston Villa potentially bringing him in on loan?
Yeah, Aston Villa have been in talks for quite some time. I would say that they're advanced in many ways, and Paulinho is given priority to the Premier League over other leagues, and that's because when he went to Tottenham with an option to buy from Bayern Munich, he felt right from the very start that he wanted to come back to England. Unfortunately for him, Spurs revamped their midfield, and now he's looking for another club. So Villa in talks, but Newcastle United in the last few days have considered a move as well. And after the departure of Bruno Guimaraes, they're looking for more experience in the centre of midfield. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is also another candidate. So this might be Newcastle versus Aston Villa, but Villa relatively optimistic because they've been holding talks with the player for quite some time.
Blimey. Look, I'm a big fan of Paulinho. If I'm a Newcastle fan, Paulinho, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg as replacement for Bruno Guimaraes does not fill me with joy. I have to be brutally honest. Galatasaray reported to be in for Gabriel Martinelli. Any chance of that going through, do you think, Ben?
Yeah, it's possible. So my understanding, as we revealed yesterday on talkSPORT, is that the clubs held an initial conversation on Sunday, and this is because Galatasaray haven't yet got Rafa Leao over the line. He would be their preference, but nothing is done yet. So they've started to explore other options. It's kind of the wrong timing to speak to Arsenal, because until they add on that left-hand side, they're not really prepared to sanction a Martinelli exit. But I can see, if the dominoes align, Arsenal adding on that left-hand side in light spite of the fact that they've not got Vinny Jr. And then a little bit later in the month, Gabriel Martinelli being available on the market.
Just a quick word, Ben. Dwight McNeil, Brennan Johnson as an exchange deal. Will that happen?
Yeah, this is a swap deal and it's agreed in principle according to our information. The medicals are actually going to take place today. McNeil, remember, in January nearly ended up moving anyway and the paperwork fell through at the last moment. And it is a good old-fashioned swap deal, which we don't see too often in football, which means that the valuations are actually the same, which is a bit of a surprise because, remember, Johnson was a club record signing for Crystal Palace and only recently, but they'll now each move respectively. Johnson to Everton, McNeil to Crystal Palace, finally getting that move, and those medicals and formalisation should take place today.
Brilliant. Ben, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, guys.
talkSPORT senior football correspondent Ben Jacobs there. As a former Villa man, does the prospect of Endrick at Villa Park excite you?
Well, look, clearly Unai Emery feels he can take these wide players. Obviously, he did it with Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford on loan. He's now done it with Garnacho again. Endrick, highly talented young lad, but again, we've not really seen that much from him. But Unai must feel that he can find an edge for those boys and improve them. Look, I didn't see enough from Jadon Sancho in a Villa shirt. Again, I spoke about Marcus Rashford earlier, Jeff, about flashes. You know, it's very difficult, some of these wide players, to be anything other than just flitting in and out of matches. But Endrick, look, it would excite a few fans, but whether he'd do it in the Premier League, I have reservations.
He only ever scored once for Real Madrid. Yeah. And, you know, look, he's a Brazilian international, but, you know, World Cup, he's not getting in that Brazilian starting 11, and it's one of the worst Brazilian teams in living memory.
It is for a long time. So, yeah, look, he would... again, I think it's that sort of young guy coming through the door that will be all ears, wanting to do everything he can to probably impress a vastly experienced manager like Unai Emery. Does he have the quality? Big question mark.
Yeah. Pete in Newcastle says, widely reported in the northeast that Paulinho Højbjerg will be for experience only due to age, not a Bruno replacement. Well, what the heck else is he, Pete, with the best will in the world? I completely get it that they brought in a lot of young players, so they're looking for somebody with experience in the middle of the park. Whichever way you look at it, it's a replacement for Bruno. It would be the case, you know, unless I'm misreading it.
No, but he would. I think those guys, Jeff, going into Newcastle, if it was João Paulinho turning up there, he would be expected to play every week.
Of course he would.
It's not like Jordan Henderson going to Chelsea. It's a different one to that.
Yeah, and same with Højbjerg. I mean, he's been brilliant at Marseille by all accounts. So, you know, he would go there expecting to play as well. And I get they're going to need experience in the middle of the park. But I would just argue, and I would argue it with most players, by the way, as well, that it's a downgrade on Bruno. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Mike says, Jeff, Andy, Endrick offers pace, something we need every season.
Very true.
Mike
Very true. Losing Morgan Rogers, Villa do need pace now in that wide areas. That's a good point.
Yeah. Thanks very much indeed for all your texts. Do keep them coming. Up next, we'll look at the problems at Anfield after another pre-season defeat.
Hussein, good morning.
Good morning, Shaban. Oh, Akbar Lahore. You're making me boil right now. I can't stand you, mate.
Oh.
You know, what have you won? What have you actually won, Gabi? You've not won nothing.
Yeah.
All you keep doing is just criticize Arsenal. What have you actually won?
Nothing, mate.
You know, it's actually funny that I used to like you as a striker, but now I can't even. I don't know what I used to see in you because you've won absolutely nothing. And Arsenal are gonna win stuff.
But you
They're gonna
used to
win.
like
We've
me, you
just won
said.
the Premier League. Yeah, I used to, but now.
What did you like about me though before?
Now he's your big gob. Sorry to say that. You keep criticizing Arsenal, but you just don't see how Arsenal are actually making. They're going places right now. We've just won the Premier League. You just even don't appreciate that we did that because you just don't hate Arsenal. That's your issue.
I love Arsenal.
Arsenal. No, you don't.
I do. Thierry Henry is my favourite player. I've got his shirt that I wear at home.
Don't insult my intelligence, Gabby, please.
I love Arsenal, mate.
No, you don't.
I do.
Let me finish by saying this.
Okay.
Why will not what's his name, Vini, not come to Arsenal? Because we are actually building a team. Because we are building. Why should he stay in Real Madrid? Especially what
Real Madrid
happened between him and Jose. Never. You know what? I don't know if I'm gonna get anywhere with you, but I said what I wanted to say.
On November the 1st, 2017, the Houston Astros won their first ever Major League Baseball World Series. Just 4 years earlier, they'd lost 111 games in a season. Now they were champions. But the Astros' victory was very quickly tainted in one of the biggest cheating scandals in the sport's history. In baseball, the catcher gives hand signals or signs to tell the pitcher what pitch to throw. The batters team always try to observe those signs and decode them. They're fine to use their eyes, but using technology, that's banned. So the Astros beat the LA Dodgers in the World Series. They all look so happy, don't they? But later, one of the Astros players went to the press admitting they'd used a camera on the field to steal signs. It caused shockwaves. An MLB investigation then confirmed it. The Astros had been filming their opponents' catchers and sending a live feed to a monitor near the dugout where players decoded the signs. To tell the batters on the field, this was the plan. Yep, they banged on a trash can. Pretty rudimentary. No bang meant a fastball was coming. One or more bangs meant an off-speed pitch. Their batters had grabbed a huge advantage. The sport responded with fury. The Astros were fined $5 million, the maximum allowed. They lost first and second round draft picks for 2 seasons. Manager AJ Hinch and general manager Jeff Luhnow were suspended for a year and then fired by the team anyway. None of the Astros players were punished, but they got the message.
We heard Mike Trout talk yesterday, and to hear that you've lost respect from the best player in the game, like that hurts. You know, that hurts.
Rival fans were livid. 10 out of 10 for the kid in the yellow. They wanted the Astros World Series title to be stripped. And with other cheating sagas happening around that time too, MLB was under the cosh.
I think that trust is something that has to be earned or earned back.
It will be remembered as one of the biggest scandals in baseball history. And while the Astros kept their title, in the minds of so many, it will always be a tarnished one.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling Andy Townsend and Arnold Clark's Deal Drop. Get the new car feeling without the new car price. Discover some of their biggest savings and find your next car today. Dan, the Spurs fan, says, morning, Jeff, can you remind me what date the summer transfer window closes? Yes, I can, Dan. September the 3rd. So we have, is that about 3 weeks?
3 weeks,
ago?
yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Really?
And Bart in Newcastle says, Jeff, the Scottish Premier League have announced they'll be using hydration breaks from September for the rest of the season. But due to inclement weather, instead of water, it'd be Bovril and Iron Brew.
Soup break. That's what it'll be.
Right, nobody quite seems to know what shape Liverpool are in ahead of the new season.
Liverpool need defenders, they need midfielders, mate. You can't just go and try and outscore everybody.
We will finish. I'm telling you now, if we don't get the finger out now, we're going to be in the top 10 to 12.
Oh, come on, man. Stop that.
I don't think this is the start Iraola would have wanted. Coming to a truly big club, you're not sure you should be having to deal with these selection problems when you first start.
If they make Champions League, I think it will be a decent season for Iraola.
I think this Liverpool backline is a real concern to start the season.
A lot of people are writing them off. I don't think they're going to be as bad as everyone thinks. And I really love this manager.
Interesting. Craig's text, he said, I honestly think Liverpool have signed a manager that isn't good enough to move them forward since before he's been in charge for a single league game. I don't think it matters how good anyone is in previous jobs, really. This is a totally new job, a new player, so it's back to basics to start with. And I get that, Craig, but you can only go on the evidence that's been in front of you, and I think we would all agree he did an absolutely brilliant job.
Oh, yeah.
Bournemouth. This is a different animal, of course it is.
This is a very different animal. We know that. I mean, did they go at the end of the season, Jeff? Was it 18, Bournemouth, without defeat?
Run.
They had an astonishing run, and he had some really talented players that now playing in a pressure-free zone, which is the one thing that Andoni Iraola is going to find extremely different to where he's been. He'll have the same thought process, the same ideas he'll want to put into those players that worked for him where they worked for him before, but the pressure valve has gone up about 10 notches.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something that I believe he can handle. I think they'll definitely finish top 4. I really believe Liverpool will finish in the top 4, but I'm expecting a far better season from Florian Wirtz. Expecting to see a lot more, and encouraging to hear some Liverpool fans on the text this morning. Jeff, Dom King earlier said that you know he played better in spells in that game against Monaco. Of course, Isak's got to stay fit and be amongst the goals. If he does that, then they'll have that threat back up top. But there are question marks, particularly at the back, aren't there?
Yeah, there are.
There are question marks.
I think Andoni Iraola, and I'm a big fan, I think he needs some help in terms of transfers. You know, they've been incredibly quiet in terms of that transfer market at the moment. But look, like you, former striker Robbie Fowler's expecting one of their big money signings from 12 months ago to have a huge impact this season.
We missed the pre-season. I mean, for whatever reason, we don't know. I think it was maybe the transition from Newcastle Liverpool was probably longer than what I think anyone envisaged. You know, he probably lacked that little bit match sharpness. When he started to look good during the season, unfortunately, got his leg break then. So you miss him. Massive fan of his. I think he's an excellent player. But you know, at Liverpool, we haven't seen the Isak that we saw at Newcastle. But again, when you talk about the manager he's got, I think the manager will play to his strengths as opposed to getting the wingers who want to cut inside, and you know, that makes it that little bit harder. You know, the middle of the pitch is quite congested, and you've got to find an excellent ball then. So I think Liverpool's plan now, I think, should be about getting wingers who can go both ways, more so on the outside of fullbacks and get crosses in, because I think if you're a forward like Alexander Isak, you want balls to be coming into the box. He'll score goals for Liverpool. You know, at 100%. You know, confidence in that.
Well, it's certainly you're going to need his goals. He's got to have a better season than last season. That is 100% certain. Let's hear from some fans. Richard's a Liverpool fan. He's given us a call. Morning, Richard.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Morning, Rich.
Yeah, really good. What are you thinking about the new season then?
Well, the first point I want to make is, how long did it take Arteta to get Arsenal to where they are?
Mm-hmm.
And two, I think we can all see that he's definitely changed the playing formation for the better. I think Wirtz and Isak are going to start to gel far better than the chance they had last year because they didn't get playing together very often. I agree with what you're saying. We definitely need another central defender. We definitely need another fullback. But I'm pretty positive. But Rome weren't built in a day. So even if we have a mediocre season this season, it's only to be expected when he's trying to get a new group of players to gel together, a new group of players to play a different system. And as a Liverpool fan, I'm positive about the manager we've got. I just think we've got to be patient to let him work his magic. Simple as that.
Rich, listen, what do you call a mediocre season? What is that to you?
Well, unfortunately, I think top 8, and I'm being realistic. If we do better than that, then I think it's a bonus. I know we need Champions League football, but like I said, Rome wasn't built in a day.
But Richard, if you're going to finish top 8, you may as well have kept Arnie Slot. What was the point of that?
No, you're going up the wrong avenue there. I mean, he hasn't had any time, has he? You've just said they half of them been away on World Cup duty. They're not up to full fitness. They're not just going to step on the gas straight away, are they?
Yeah, but top 8 would be unacceptable for Liverpool.
No way is that going to be acceptable.
They won the league 2 seasons ago.
Yeah,
top 8 is just not acceptable. Richard, thank you very much. Michael's a Liverpool fan. Morning, Michael.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, Mike.
Morning, Michael. Would you settle for top 8?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're going to win the Premier League this season. I think Liverpool have done. They've done some good business. I think the team needs to settle down under the new manager, Areola. I think definitely they will progress to winning the league this season. Yeah.
Well, that's a big call. I mean, that's a big shout, Mike. I'm not totally convinced they're going to do that. But I absolutely think that the minimum requirement for Andoni Areola and all those boys at Liverpool is top 4. Absolute minimum. Anything if it's 5th or 6th or 7th, not good enough. Not good enough. They should be in the top 4. They should be.
I mean, in terms of business, to me, unless I'm missing something, they've only brought in Jeremy Jacquet, who's a very young boy, really. He's 20 years of age, and Victor Munoz. I think they really need to support their manager a great deal more than they have done so far. Oh.
And Isaac. We also have Ekatike up front, and we've also got Vert. So I think we need to sort of put it in context. I do think if we get the chat from PSG, I think that will be enough. And possibly, I'm not sure if we can get Marcus Rashford. I think that will be a good buy as well.
Both looking unlikely, to be absolutely honest at the moment, Michael. Thank you very much indeed for the call. Ian's a Liverpool fan. Morning, Ian.
Hello, boys. You okay?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Yeah. So what do you think the prospects are for the next season?
I think personally, mate, they've got to he makes a couple of more additions to the team. And obviously, we're going obviously more about like we're full at it now. We're going to basically a bit more club-style football. I think personally, the other caller who's saying 8 to me, and I don't know where he's coming from there, but myself personally, he's got to be challenging. He's got to be challenging. Not top 4's he's okay, but he's got to be challenging. I think he's going to make a couple of more additions, but I think the players are going to enjoy his football as well. I think Dominic Szoboszlai, I think he was the one who was doing most of the work last season, running everywhere, and I feel as though everyone's got to step up now and high energy all over the pitch. And I just think the players are going to, as I say, going to enjoy the football a lot more better because you've got to play high intensity football. And when we played under Klopp,
they're the best at it at that time.
That high energy, mate. It was basically we were at it, weren't we? Correct. And there's only Pep's team was the only team. Obviously, they were unbelievable then, but we were like a top side. So I think I'm not saying I'm going to be exactly like Klopp, but I think it's going to be not far off.
Brilliant, Ian. Thank you very much indeed for the call. Charlotte says was at the match yesterday. Good to see the higher press, better intensity. Wirtz and Isak look good together. First half, need to sign a centre-back. Thanks very much indeed, Charlotte. Up next, we'll talk Rangers with Andy Halliday.
But the Vinny Jr. one was a audacious attempt, to say the least.
Big word for you.
I've been learning this book that I've been reading. They've got these big words in. I'm trying to keep them in my brain. No, but it was always going to be tough shit, man. Like Vinny Jr. leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, it just doesn't sound right. As Arsenal fans might get angry, I'll say it, but like, imagine Neymar Jr. at Barcelona. He's not going to leave Barcelona for Arsenal. They're always going to come to an agreement. Real Madrid aren't going to let a talent like that at 26. Do you know what I mean? What's he worth on the market? I know he's got a year left, but what's he worth, Vinny Jr.? Over 100 million easily. Real Madrid are never going to let that go. And Vinny Jr. in his mind won't want to leave Real Madrid. Imagine the crowds in Brazil, the people that love Vinny Jr. because he plays for Real Madrid. I just can't see it.
Well, that is interesting because it was my understanding that it was if he wanted to leave Real Madrid. There's never been a he wants to leave Real Madrid.
He's not said it, has he?
He's looking for the right offer. He's looking at Mbappe going, can I get money close to that? Can I get a deal close to that? And if they're not going to give me what I deserve, then yes, I would be interested in what Mikel Arteta is doing. And don't get me wrong, Arsenal are a massive club and they are on the verge of winning the Champions League. They're looking to go back-to-back Premier League champions. They absolutely can, right? They can. So, and I think he would get them over the line, but he's Vinicius Jr.
Good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend. I've looked at the text actually, but somebody just texted me and said that the transfer deadline closes on September the 1st. And whoever it was, thank you for that, because you're absolutely right. I said September the 3rd, which is the transfer deadline date for Scotland. That's when it closes it in Scotland. Talking of Scotland, over in the Scottish Premiership, alarm bells rather ringing for Rangers on the back of their Champions League qualifier defeat to Jagiellonia. A 2-1 loss at home to Hibs made it 3 straight home defeats to them at Ibrox. Hibs have got the curse over Rangers when they got to Ibrox, that is for sure. And of course, big win for Celtic at the weekend made matters even worse as far as Rangers were concerned. 5-1 they beat Kilmarnock. Let's see if we can make sense of it all. Let's bring in former Rangers midfielder Andy Halliday. Morning, Andy.
Good morning, Jeff. How are we?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Good. So, look, is this just a case of Derek McInnes settling in, the players needing a little time to get used to his methods?
I think it's more a case of deja vu. There's almost an element of disbelief at how this is happening again at Rangers. Another summer of hope and promise. Finally get the manager they want. Hopefully try and get another 10-15% out of players that are coming in. And after Celtic not being in great shakes last year, Rangers probably only felt they needed just a slight upgrade in last season to go and compete for the title. But it's another. Not only are Rangers struggling to start games, they're struggling to start seasons. And 2 games into the league season and no wins already. And I think there's already kind of mounting pressure for the stands.
And Andy, talking about pressure, that is going to be massive pressure on the Rangers boys midweek, because it's got to start somewhere. This momentum that they want to get under Derek McInnes has got to start somewhere. They've got to turn this European tie around midweek, haven't they?
Yeah, they do. I mean, Rangers, they want to be a Champions League club, but in Europa League, they've competed fairly well in the competition over recent years. And for me, I think they're very fortunate to be going back to Ibrox with just a 1-goal deficit, given the performance over in Poland, particularly in the first half. And I think for me, Rangers should have more than enough to beat Jagiellonia, but I think with the manner of performances so far, I find it very, very difficult to see it being an easy game on Thursday night. There's not really a facet of Rangers game that's clicking at this moment in time. They've only scored 3 goals. Only one of them has been scored by a Rangers player. The other 2 have been own goals. And then the most surprising aspect, I think, of the performances so far is Derek McInnes' sides have always been associated to being really well organised off the ball. But at this moment in time, Rangers are just conceding chances at will.
Yeah, and as you said about the lack of goals at the moment, obviously Derek brought Lawrence Shankland with him, who's not made an impact so far.
I think there's question marks over the majority of the signings over the course of the summer. Have they made Rangers better? And for me, I think there's too much proof that Lawrence Shankland will be a good Rangers signing. He's obviously not started the season well. I don't particularly think the service been brought to him so far has been up to scratch, and I think Lawrence Shankland's the type of striker that always relies into deliveries in the box and service in the box. But at this moment in time, I don't think Rangers have enough pace. I don't think they have enough creativity. And albeit Lawrence has not started particularly well himself, I think he's the one that I think that Rangers can see coming good out the signings.
Yes. Well, I mean, in terms of signings, will there be more? Financially, are they in a position, to bring more players in?
Well, Jeff, there has to be more. I think it's 9 signings Rangers have made this summer, but yet the squad is still so imbalanced. They don't have an attacking right back. They only have 3 centre-halves, only 2 that are fit. They only have 1 left back. They have an abundance of centre midfielders, but between the bunch of them, none of them can actually dictate a game and play a forward pass. They've only got 2 wingers at the football club. So, for me, I still think they have a whole host of transfer business to do. And I think Derek McInnes has said as much. There's a couple of times he's already mentioned that he feels that the squad's going to look extremely different now to what it will at the end of the transfer window. But the fact of the matter is, Jeff, there's still a couple of league games to go. They're already 5 points behind Celtic. So unless they get the business done quickly and the guys that come in make an instant impact, you feel as if they'll be the chasers, and the chase will start to drift away from them.
As a player or a manager, you don't get much time, Andy, do you, to make an impact?
No, you don't, and that's obviously not the ideal situation for being at the football club with the expectation and the standards that Rangers have. And I think the fact that Derek McInnes had a pre-season, the fact that he got quite a number of signings in early doors, I think there was an expectation that the Rangers would start the season a lot stronger than they have. And I think for the majority, I think he's still the man for the job. But like you say, it's unfortunate in Glasgow you don't get a lot of time, and Rangers need wins, and they need wins quick.
Yeah. Sorry, Andy.
No, Jeff. No, I'm good. Andy's spot on. I think absolutely right there. Which is why I just think this game in midweek against this Jagiellonia, I think is so huge, just to get a bit of confidence back amongst the players and a little bit of belief, Andy, amongst the fans again.
Yeah, Rangers' priority this summer in terms of transfer business was no doubt characters, and I think these characters are already being tested. They brought in club captains at other football clubs. They brought in club captains that have been club captains in Scotland, and they know particularly well. But already, I think they type of players will will see how different it is playing for Rangers and playing at Ibrox, and the demand and expectation to not only win but win well. And at this moment in time, they're obviously 3 competitive games in. They've not won any. And, before that game at the weekend, a lot of chat was then, well, their next 4 games are all at Ibrox. Sometimes Ibrox is a more difficult place to play for Rangers players, especially when it's not going well. And you already felt the atmosphere after the penalty going Hibs' way after 10, 12 minutes. And Rangers, for me, didn't respond at any point in the first half. And it wasn't until second half where they got an element of reaction, but ultimately still never managed to get the job done.
Yeah. No. It doesn't help, does it, when Celtic go and score 5 at Kilmarnock?
No, and I mentioned that Celtic were not the Celtic we've been used to over the recent years last season, and I think that was almost used as a gauge for Rangers to try and catch. If they managed to get 10-15% more this year, I think a lot of people made Rangers favourites going into this season. But Celtic, for me, yesterday, that was as good as Celtic have played domestically for a long time. And in Casper Who, it looks as if they finally got a replacement for Kyogo, which they've waited almost 18 months for. And that's with Celtic only signing 2 players. No, Celtic lost 14 players. They've only signed 2. But the difference is the 2 that they brought in seems to have made a real upgrade in what they already had.
Andy, brilliant. Look, thanks for your time, mate.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks.
Top man, take care, guys.
Cheers.
Do you know, Jeff, I've just seen there James Tavernier, right?
Yeah.
Obviously a free agent, left the club, scored all those goals, which was remarkable from the position that he tended to play in. And I just wondered, whether or not that decision is one that, I don't know, would they regret that one?
Don't know. Obviously, he's got the experience, that is for sure, isn't he?
Not many.
Yeah.
He really does.
Former Rangers, Hearts and Motherwell midfielder Andy Halliday with us there. And by the way, got a text here from Runcorn Highby. Says, Jeff, what about a bit of credit to Hibs? It's not the first time we've turned them over at Ibrox, yet all we hear is Rangers' problems. You are absolutely spot on. And it's worth mentioning as well, and you won't mention this, being a Hibs fan, won't welcome us mentioning this. Big win for Hearts yesterday. They had a shocking start to the season, but they won 4-0 yesterday. And it just makes you think, could they possibly mount another challenge this season?
I think I saw one of the goals earlier, Jeff, on the monitors here at talkSPORT Towers, and it looked like a belting strike from about 25 yards. Someone has absolutely nailed one. From that sort of distance. So, great win for them,
Yeah, absolutely. Just hearing that the former Ipswich man, Sam Morsey, has completed his medical and is set to join Blackburn Rovers. Coming next, we'll be looking into Matthias Jaisler's start at Newcastle. Your thoughts on Vinicius Junior, then Arsenal losing out in that? Were you hopeful or were you doubtful?
Do you know what? I was a little bit in the middle, really. I thought, look, he's a player that would certainly improve Arsenal. There's no doubt about that. He's got so much talent. But also, he's at Real Madrid, like Andy Townsend said. Why would you want to leave Real Madrid, as Andy says? But whether he wanted a different change of lifestyle and whatever, whether he wanted to go to London, I don't know. But I think what he's done, he's played the market, isn't he? So he's gone, right, we know Arsenal are interested. His agent's probably going to Real Madrid. Well, Arsenal, we're thinking about going to Arsenal, and they've panicked a little bit, probably got an unbelievable deal now, 6-year contract. And he's gone, right, okay, I'll stay then. Yeah. Done. And so he's played both sides, really, which a lot of agents do, a lot of players do as well. But I was always 50-50, really. If he comes to the club, great. But if he doesn't, it's not the end of the world.
Absolutely, you move on from it. I mean, it's absolutely dead now. He is staying at Real Madrid for 6 years, as you mentioned. But, how important was that to get that idea that Arsenal were starting to flirt with world-class players, with somebody who would be a marquee signing?
You've got to do that. You've got to do that.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, you've got to do that.
They've done it. The champions got a final. Why wouldn't you?
And the club's in a really good position at the moment with finances and whatever. I mean, Josh Kroenke's really stepped it up another level really now and he trusts the manager Arteta to say, right, we're going to really go with him and see what he needs.
When you think about famous F1 circuits, the likes of Silverstone, Monza, Monaco come to mind. One of these is not like the others though. Monaco is just one of a number of street circuits on the calendar, and that number's only set to rise. There's a clear difference between a traditional circuit and a street circuit. One is a purpose-built facility on private land, the other is, as it sounds, a race through the streets of a major city. Monaco is the famous example, twisting and turning through the streets of the Principality with iconic backgrounds and, let's be honest, not a lot of overtaking. But from 2026, there'll be a record 10 street circuits on the calendar. It proves that cash remains king. Each track promoter gives F1 between $20 and $60 million just for the rights to host an F1 race. And when Saudi Arabia pays upwards of $100 million, you can see why it's an attractive prospect for the sport. But is it all positive? Well, the drivers aren't that bothered. If you ask a majority of them, they'll tell you historic circuits at Silverstone, Spa, Monza, Zandvoort, they're the favourites. For the sports organisers, though, it kind of makes sense. In 2025, Monaco had a record 2.3 million strong viewership in the US alone. Meanwhile, for the British Grand Prix several weeks later, 1.5 million tuned in. So while these races may not be rip-roaring, all-out action, thrill rides we want as race fans, people are tuning in even more, and bosses can demand even more cash.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend and Donald Clark. It's the perfect time to upgrade your car. Get 2 years free servicing when you buy a used car in the upgrade event. Check it out online. If you heard the music, I'm sure you did. You'll know we're going to talk Newcastle in a moment. Before that, let me just tell you, Liverpool have apparently agreed personal terms with Bradley Barcola. But, and it's a big but, negotiations with PSG over the fee continue, with Liverpool and PSG in direct official conversation. LFC feel that the PSG valuation is significantly too high.
I agree.
Yeah, and I do too. I don't know. Look, PSG are made of money, aren't they? So maybe they'd be willing to drop down.
Yeah, they might well do. We'll see on that. But what do you think would be the level that someone like Bradley Barcola should command? I mean, I personally would say if he was 75, 80, I get it, because that's the sort of money you have to pay now for these, very talented younger players in that particular area of the field. But 130s, 140s, I do not see him at that sort of level at all.
No.
If Arsenal were talking 150 for Vinny Jr., well, I just don't see Bradley Barcola in that sort of company. Not yet. He might well do. And Liverpool, look, would want to buy a very talented young player and hope they can develop him. The coach has done that in his previous job at Bournemouth, but if it was 130s and that sort of money, I personally think it's way too much. I do.
Yeah, me too. Significantly too much. We shall see if PSG are willing to move their stance or if Liverpool are willing to pay that price. Now, Matthias Jaisler's Newcastle Rain got off to a winning start, albeit in a pre-season friendly, coming from behind to beat Valencia 2-1 at the Mestalla. Couple of goals for Johan Visser. That's really good news as far as Newcastle are concerned. After the match, Jaisler spoke about his excitement at leading the club into the new season.
This is a challenge, and there are so many transitions at the moment. There are many players left, big players, legends for the club left. But again, we need to see it as a chance. We should be quite balanced in our approach, just analyze the situation, how it is, and develop from there. And that's what we're going to do. Now next week, there are things we need to work on, definitely. We did well now in the camp.
A big win, and I mentioned Johan Visser, who was, let's be brutally honest, was a disaster for them last season.
Yep.
Complete disaster.
Didn't do anything,
but he scored in the World Cup and he's come back, and maybe we'll see the real player this time round. Interesting, though, quotes from the sporting director, Ross Wilson, this week. He says, we have to build a model at Newcastle that can win, one that works for us and doesn't lead to us having to sell players we don't want to sell, and lead to UEFA sanctions. Well, that horse has bolted, hasn't it? Because they've sold players they didn't want to sell. Isak and Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. Look, unfortunately, Newcastle, like Aston Villa and one or two other clubs, are in that bracket where they are constantly looking over their shoulder, making sure that they've got all the books balanced and all the, the I's dotted and the T's crossed. It's very difficult, I think, to manage with any conviction clubs like that, because the picture changes very, very quickly, Jeff, and it's taken out of your hands. The minute that powers that be start turning around and saying we've got to find 40 million quid and we've got to find it in the next few months, then all of a sudden, a decent player's got to go out the door.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult to handle and to manage, and must be incredibly frustrating for them. And they've lost, I think, the heart and soul of their team in the last 18 months. I really do. I think they've lost so many good players. And they bought a lot of younger guys. Good luck to them. I hope they work out. That's a really positive result that they got at Valencia. Going out to a club like that and winning is obviously good news. But I think they've got a lot to do, Newcastle, this season to get it right.
And the club say Lewis Hall is not for sale. And again, those words ring a bit hollow because we've heard it about other players not for sale. Isak not leaving, Bruno, we want to keep. So they ring a little bit hollow in my view. They
made they did the other day. I think Malik Thiaw was the skipper because obviously Bruno leaving. Whether that's something that they've announced or he was just skipper for the day, I don't know. They got some good players there. There is no question that Newcastle have got some good players. And again, listen, younger players, whilst they might not have the experience, they don't come with any baggage. They don't play with restriction. They have the freedom to go and show us what you can do, son. That's the message for any younger player. And if those boys have got the courage to do that, then they could be a real find, a revelation. You don't know. What we do know and what we have seen with Premier League football is when new players arrive and teams can't get it going and results are spluttering a bit, then it becomes really difficult for a younger coach, younger players. The season can very quickly develop into a slog, and it's difficult to get out of it. But we'll see. I think that I don't. Where would I see Newcastle finishing this season? All things considered, with what they've sold, with what they've acquired, you would have thought they're around 12th, something like that, Jeff. To me, just around halfway. I don't believe they would be at the very bottom end of the league, looking over their shoulder. But at the moment, I can't see them finding a way into the top 7.
No, maybe not top 7, but I could certainly see 8th, 9th, 10th. And, look, the coach comes with a big reputation. It's not all doom and gloom. They've signed a new goalkeeper. And listen to what they've still got, apart from the goalkeeper, Livramento, Lewis Hall, Sven Botten, Fabian Schär, Dan Burn, Joe Linton, Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy, Jacob Ramsey, Lewis Miley, excellent young player. Will Osula finished the season brilliantly last season. Elanga, Visser, Voldemort. I know they all didn't perform last season. I'm well aware of that. Plus their new signings. I don't think it's all doom and gloom at Newcastle.
And we had a lot last week, Jeff, when we did the show. We were talking Newcastle. We had a lot of Newcastle fans coming on saying, "Listen, forget thoughts of negative thoughts. Let's all feel a little bit more positive." Even Lee Clark earlier, is, Hartlepool manager, turned around and saying that looking positively towards the start of the season for Newcastle, and I think that's the way you got to be. You got to be optimistic that they can get off to a good start, and some of those younger players can find their way pretty quickly. And if that happens, you never know.
Yeah, because if you get that crowd behind you, then. Yeah, look, and also I said the young coach comes with a big reputation. He's got a big act to follow in Eddie Howe. Yes, make no mistake about that.
Yeah, he has, yeah. Eddie, I thought, and I think in time, it's not whenever a manager leaves a club, immediately the first thoughts turn to perhaps the end of the previous season, but I think in time, people absolutely would totally respect the job that Eddie did. Good luck to the new coach. And the one thing again, as a younger coach coming through the door, Jeff, if he's signing younger players and some of those senior pros that might have are the ones that sometimes raise an eyebrow a little bit, whatever a new coach is trying to bring to a new club, he doesn't have that now. Most of them are out the door, or some of them have moved on. And I'm sure he's getting to grips very quickly with what he needs to do there.
Yeah, talented young boys in Livermento and Hall. Lewis Marley, a player I really, really like. As well, Sula.
He's made a call on the goalkeeper. Nick Pope's no longer going to be one. He's got.
But it looks like Nick Pope.
This other guy coming in looks like Nick Pope will probably go. Yeah. So again, that's right. He's got to bring his own people in, and he's got to be brave enough to chuck them in.
Yeah, I wonder what Newcastle fans make it all. I reckon 8th. Would that be satisfactory?
Oh, it must be.
I think they finished 12th last season, didn't they? So let us know. 03717223344. Andy's texted in and said, while I appreciate the shambles at Newcastle, the top team in the North East rarely gets a mention across your whole network. Are you talking about Andy? Oh, yes, Sunderland, of course you are, mate. They'll get plenty of mentions during the course of this season, especially bearing in mind they have a European campaign to come as well. So looking forward to talking a lot about Sunderland during the course of the season. Up next, we'll have some fun with our breakfast feature, For Me or Not For Me, Clive.
Smoke without fire, of course not. He is interested in the Arsenal project.
Arsenal
if he's to leave Real Madrid.
Arsenal going for Vinny Jr. is like me sending Rihanna a message on Instagram saying that I'd love you to come to the Bullring in Birmingham. I want to take you around Birmingham on a date. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, he's not leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal. One league title in over 20 years. Can't win a Champions League in their whole existence. He's not going to come to Arsenal. He's used Arsenal to get an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound a year, and he's going to sign a new contract at Arsenal. Sign a new contract at Real Madrid. Simple. What he's doing. Arsenal have been used.
Did you ever shoot your shot with Rihanna though? Did you ever DM?
I might have. Yeah, I might have. That's private business. I might have.
But the point is, we know that Arsenal have made a go at Vinicius Jr. So they've tried.
And I maybe I tried, and it didn't work out.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for Arsenal, is it?
You make me cringe.
No, one league title in over 20 years. Never won the Champions League. Can't sit at the big table of the Champions League winning clubs like Villa, Nottingham Forest, Celtic. And you think you're going to go and sign Vinny Jr., the fan base that Vinny Jr.'s got in South America because he plays for Real Madrid.
It's not.
Rodri's doing everything he can probably to get out of Manchester City to go to Real Madrid. Haaland will go to Real Madrid at some point in his career.
It's not dead yet.
Good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling and Andy Townsend. 9:48 Monday, August the 10th. David, the Liverpool fan, says a bit concerned about Curtis Jones not making an appearance yesterday. You guys got any info on him leaving? Well, officially it was a hip injury, but...
Right. There was some talk earlier on in the summer about, was it Inter Milan?
Inter Milan, yeah. I think he's done there. I mean, personally, I have no inside information at all. But I might be a bit surprised if that sort of slight hip injury wasn't a precursor to him leaving the club. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Newcastle fans have been in touch. Chris says, great show, gents. No doom and gloom up here. We're all in with a new manager. This is a new chapter. Eddie had to go. His time was up. Some real potential brought in so far this window. And by all accounts, there'll be another 5 or 6 coming in. How are the lads? Thanks, Chris. And Ash, as a Newcastle fan, said this is a season of getting stability back for Newcastle. Let's get the new younger players bedded in and the manager's philosophy across and aim for top 7, which would likely be enough for Europe. You're absolutely right, Ash. I'm sure top 7 would be enough for Europe. Right, let's finish with a bit of this.
Do you know, I'm going to say something here, Ali. Not for me, Clive. I mean, that's just something you just say to people. Any second now, we're going to hear the biggest rip where his bum cheeks come flying out the back of them strides. Oh, it's lovely when you wake up, there's a mattress outside your front door, isn't there? We got a bloke at work, we call him Pothole because everyone tries to avoid him. I thought I saw something similar to a large cat. Not for me, Clive.
He made his name at the likes of Aston Villa and Chelsea and Middlesbrough, but more importantly, made the phrase, not for me, Clive, legendary, while on commentary duty. So it's time to put Andy to the test. In for me or not for me, Clive? So first up, Jose's back in the headlines again. He's rarely away from them, isn't he? He's got a new Netflix documentary out tomorrow. So surprise, surprise, he's making a few headlines at the moment. He's publicly called out Bernardo Silva over the weekend. Basically, he said, this poor guy, when he goes on vacation, he likes to disconnect completely. He doesn't do any work, so he comes back on a physical level that was way below his usual standards. So, publicly calling out players on their fitness levels, for me or not for me, Clive?
Jeff, I don't think it's particularly sinister or nasty what he's done here. I don't actually have a problem with managers being absolute, as long as Jose has been up front with Bernardo Silva first. I don't think any player wants to always read stuff from the coach about them in the press the next day, and then all of a sudden you've got a confrontation with your coach. I think if you hear it from the horse's mouth, and then he goes out there and just tells the truth, tells you what you've been told, I don't see a problem with that. I think other managers could do a little bit more of that. That's quite an old school sort of thing, and it never done me any harm when your coach gave you a bit of a going over in front of your teammates or one-on-one. It always stings and it always hurts a little bit. What would you expect a top pro like Bernardo Silva to do? We'd expect him to respond to that and get himself a little bit sharper as quick as he can. Nothing wrong with it.
Did you ever turn up after for pre-season not in perfect shape?
Well, I tell you, we were always, and certainly when he's done about having downtime in the summer. I mean, when we weren't playing international football, we used to have weeks and weeks off, Jeff, in the old days. So you were bound to come back out of shape. But we kind of always used pre-season. Pre-season in my day, a lot of it was long distance, heavy running. Mornings and afternoons, of course, like they do nowadays. But it's far shorter, far sharper, far better monitored nowadays than it ever was back in the day. But you used to come back needing to get a good pre-season under your belt, ready for the campaign ahead. But I don't think I ever come back like a stone overweight or anything like that. But you'd certainly come back 5 or 6 pounds the wrong way, definitely.
Just want to read a text up before we move on. I'm going to read it because it's a complimentary one, you see, so we've got to find space for it, haven't we? Terry's a Liverpool fan. He says, morning, boys. I want to say you and Andy are a great pairing. Love listening to you. Thank you very much, Terry. He said,
Terry,
minimum for Liverpool, top 4 and a trophy, I think.
Yeah.
And he said 140 million for Barcola is madness. I think we both agree with that, Terry. Thank you, mate. Hydration breaks, of course, were used in the World Cup. They made their way to England. Some Carabao Cup ties being stopped at the weekend and, of course, being met with loud boos. Andy, hydration breaks in England, for me or not for me, Clive?
Not for me every day of the week. And look, if it's a 110 degrees, of course, you might want to feel that players deserve to just have but not a 3-minute break as well. They went on far too long in the summer. And I actually think teams were using it as a bit of a tactic, Jeff, in terms of let's get to the hydration break and then we'll decide what we're going to do after that. Listen, it's just supposed to be. Players can just go and have a very quick drink, get back on with the game. But I would hate to see them become part of anything that we see here on a regular basis.
And I get that completely. But for instance, at West Ham at the weekend, West Ham Portsmouth, the Carabao, it's 30 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's just common sense to let the players have a break.
Yeah.
But, get it done quickly. And get it done when there's a break in the game rather than splitting it into quarters.
Yes. Well, look, the referee, you could stay out on the pitch and one of the staff could run on with the bottles of whatever it is that they're giving the guys. They could run on and just go on and quickly have a little drink and we could get going again within a minute. It doesn't have to be like a tactical, a period where the managers and the coaches can feel like they can tactically make changes to the team. I think that's all a little bit too much. So only when it's necessary. I mean, we had hydration breaks in the summer in air-conditioned 23-degree stadiums, which on the face of it was bonkers, really. Bonkers.
Carson says we had hydration break at Bognor. He said it was only 24 degrees. It took 2 minutes. 24 degrees.
I don't think 24 you should be having hydration.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I think so. Listen, you have to be out of coat with a warm day.
Problem is, are we going to be watching the thermometer before we decide there's a hydration break?
I think anything above 30, I think you're well within your rights to say, listen, we'll let the guys have a very quick break.
A very
quick one.
I'm at Hartlepool at the weekend now. It's not known for its hot weather, but it was pretty warm there at the weekend. And what happened there was every time that somebody went down injured or whatever, then all the boys would run across the touchline, get a quick plug and be back out. So there was no need for an actual official hydration break. They were doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Next up, Villa back in action on Wednesday to take on PSG in the Super Cup final, live on talkSPORT. Andy, you're on commentary duty for us.
I am looking forward to
that. Aston Villa, can they beat PSG? And does it matter for me or not for me, Clive?
It's... I think it does matter. It certainly matters for Villa because
it's not a trophy, though, is it? Because you said to me the Community Shield wasn't a trophy in your view, so the Super Cup can't be a trophy then either.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jeff. You're absolutely right. I do feel with this one, it's just a little more kudos attached to it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it's worth turning up and winning and having us, the scalp of PSG under your belts going into to a new campaign. Not going to be easy because Villa they're without players that they've lost through injury. They've obviously sold some very key players in Morgan Rogers, Tielemans, Luca Digne. So it's going to be very much a new look team. Will they have enough to beat PSG on Wednesday? I don't know what sort of shape they're in either, Jeff.
They drew with Man United, didn't they, at the weekend in a friendly.
And did most of their big hitters play?
No, a lot of their big hitters didn't play.
Still, you would think, because there is a trophy up for grabs here, you would think both teams will play as good as they possibly can at this stage, or start with as good as they've got at this stage of their pre-season campaign. Looking forward to the game. Do I think Villa could win? Yes, I do. I would make PSG pretty firm favourites.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Villa is that after a close season of real uncertainty and question marks over, one or two of their signings and having had some significant departures, it would be a huge morale boost.
Oh, wow. Massive.
To be pissed. Massive morale boost going into the season.
Wouldn't it just? It really would. But again, I mentioned that the likes of Anana, who's out injured. I think he's got a cruciate, hasn't he? I think Boubacar Kamara is back now and will show again how good a central midfielder he could be. But Villa are going to need to get 2 or 3 through the door, Jeff. I think they've lost some big personnel, some key players, and I think they could do with replenishing that squad a little bit more before they get going.
Yeah. Quick bit of news to bring you. It's the never-ending story of Gianni Infantino. He's been accused of breaking trust through deception in an open letter issued by UEFA CONCACAF and the Asian Football Confederation. They say when trust is broken through deception, when an individual places himself above the collective that entrusted him with authority, that duty has been abandoned. So pretty strong stuff from UEFA, CONCACAF and the Asian Football Confederation. So what you got planned? Day in the sun?
Day in the sun today, Jeff. Yes, not doing a lot for the rest of the...
wash the car, water the lawn.
Correct.
That sort of thing.
Well, yeah, hosepipe ban.
You got a hosepipe ban?
Yeah, we've got hosepipe ban, I'm afraid. So,
well, eat your heart out. I washed my car yesterday because we haven't got one.
Ah, there you go. See,
irresponsible, I know, but
no. But and I've got the Villa game on Wednesday. Looking forward to that, Jeff.
Brilliant. Have a great week.
And you,
won't you?
and you, pal.
Now coming next, oh goodness me, the Peterborough chairman Darren Anthony's on. We'll never hear the end of Posh winning at Bristol Rovers the week. I want to know how he got on with Steve Evans. So Darren McAnthony and Max Scott are next. Bye bye.